Is this thing on? We're on. Am I on? Yes, I'm on. And you know who else is on? Shane is on. What's going on, everybody?
Hello.
Let's go, as they say, right?
Yes.
Woo. So how's it been, Shane? It's how's the weather up there?
Oh, it's not too bad, actually. It's pretty good. It's a little cold, but that's okay.
All right. So for those of you who are watching for the first time, first of all, thank you for tuning in. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Yes, we are going to talk a little bit about Malice and all that fun stuff. And there's a big debut happening as well. But we have to, we got to give props to the people that helped this channel happen. So I got to thank the Rat Pack. So let's put that video up. I love that video.
That's a good one.
Thank you. All right. So, guys, I just got to start by saying thank you, everybody who supported the channel in any way you have or have been doing. We're going to do something that we've been trying to do for a while. Let's do a monthly giveaway box. I've done it before, so I'm going to do it again this month. But we're going to have some fun with it, of course. But getting things started, I got some books already that are going to be part of the January monthly box. These books are automatically in the box, but it's up to you to add some more books into the box. So we'll continuously add more books as each week goes. But what we're going to do is we're going to have fun with it. And like I said, we're going to be doing the goals. So what whatever goal comes in, if we get a total of 10 goals, actually we'll do first 5. If we get 5, we'll add a book in there. If we get 10, we'll add the other book there. And we'll add books that are, have some, that got some little bit of pocket change that go along with it. And then ultimately we'll do some more fun stuff in it. If you do support the channel by utilizing a super chat, I will automatically put you into the January box as well. So it's only fair because those people that support the channel are paying through a financial support. But if you're doing the super chat, of course, that's the same thing. So that means that gives you access as well. So we'll do that. Shane, you ready to see what books we got in the box already?
Yeah, let's see, because there's always a chance.
There's always a chance. So we got a Shazam versus Black Adam. It's actually a pretty cool color. Shazam number 7. That's going to be one of the boxes there. Huge shout out to Josh. You guys know Josh. Josh has provided that. Yeah, we got, just for funsies, let's throw in a Deadpool Wolverine. Sure, why not? But you know what?
Proudly displayed on your wall.
I know, right? Proudly displayed. We'll also throw in a DC's versus Vampires, a Mark Spears.
Oh, that's much better.
variant.
Much better.
Much better. We'll throw that one in there. We'll also throw in a cover that is just crazy good, and that is DC Horror issue number. I think this is a one shot. No, this is issue 2. Issue 2 of DC Horror. Look at that.
Yeah, I love that cover.
That's coming out. We're adding that into the box. Now, the next 2 books are books we have that have some significant value to it. So the first book is All In Special number 1. This has been a hot book, but this one's signed by Scott Snyder with a certificate of authenticity from Midtown Comics. So we're gonna add this automatically in the box.
I love that one.
I don't want to just give out modern books. I got to give out some older good books. And we have here Batman 457 in a Newsies. If you know what the significance of this book is. Do you know what the significance of this book is, by the way?
I have that book, but I don't remember what that one is.
It's everything to do with this guy here, who I believe is Jason Todd's Robin. So Jason Todd is Robin is in there. So that's going to be in it. That's in the box already. All you have to do is become a channel member. By becoming a channel member, you're automatically going to be entered into the January box. I have 2 more books that I'm going to add in the box, right, with today's theme. And if we get 5, I'm going to add 1. If we get 10, I'll add them both. So we'll keep coming back to it, okay? So we'll do that. And Shane knows the books, right?
They're good books.
They're definitely good books. So we'll do that. Anyway, let's go say what's up to the guys in the chat, starting with our boy Las Cruces, who came in this morning at 11:02. I think the minute I started the stream, he kind of like just already knew it, and he just sensed it, just went in there with a hooray. And
much
then
appreciation for that. That's you're getting a notification and boom, you're on. That's awesome.
Exactly. And then we got a woohoo in there as well. So we got a woohoo that came in at 3:50. Nerdy Geek, what are we specking on today? Oh, we got some good spec this week. We definitely got some good stuff. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. And riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big bad rat? I know how it's supposed to go. No one judge me. Damn it. LOL. JSS Brooklyn in the house. Happy Monday. And, welcome, everybody. You're all part of the Rat Pack, so we'll get started. Also, 1063, we're simulcasting it over in his channel as well. To be part of the Rat Pack, to do the super chats, you got to come to my channel to do that. But if you're watching it over at 1063, thank you for watching it as well. The Comic Vet. And go. And then we got Joffrey Castro also. What's going on, Joffrey? And Tina, I think Tina's watching on your end. She's just at work, just saying hello. Hello, Tina. How are you? All right. So that's the group. Remember, guys, we're going to constantly be bringing up the super chats as we go along in the show. Let's see. I think another one came in. Oh, that's you.
That's just me.
That's just you. All right. We're going to talk about the top trending books. We got a great list. So it's time to start the Comic Heat Index. All right. What a week it is. We're on the second week of January, and this week was very interesting, to say the least. And I say that a lot, but my God, what a week. Especially the weekend. What the weekend brought us was something.
There's always something that happens in comic land, and I love it. I love it. But this week made me sad. I was a little sad.
You were a little sad? Oh, yes, I know it. I know why you're sad. Our favorite little friend is no longer on the list, but I promise you he will make his return.
Yeah.
But as you could see from what you see from the 4 books there's some returning and there's some new books in this list. And my gosh, what a list we're going to have for you. Now, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, just want to give you guys a little insight of how this list works. This list is a consolidated list based off the trending list from Key Collector, CBSI, and Cover Price. Not only are we utilizing their top 10 list to create this consolidated list, we're also checking out the sales volume, hype, and the fair market value of each book so that we could come up with a true top 10 list, or the best top 10 list we could come up with based off of sales figures and things like that. Because if you look at other trending lists, you'll notice there's something off. And I'm not going to point fingers at anyone, but there is something off going on there. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And well, with your list too, we get the added extra kind of feature of the hype level, which is decided really by you and determining, what's been going on. So it's like a right on the finger of the heartbeat type of notation. It's great. I think it's a really good list.
Yeah, I see that. Before I even go to the list, I see we have someone. Hello from Nuevo Mexico. Yes. Thank you, Las Cruces. I love it. I love it. I love it. And Favu Fav, or Fav? Because I know Suave. So Suave Fav, first time checking this out. Love the energy. Thank you. Yeah, I know. Tear emojis indeed.
But I did send that little video to you, so I don't know if it's going to make a debut or not.
We'll see. I don't have it with me, so we're not this week at least. Anyway, it's time to take a look at this list, and let's kick it off with number 10. We may not have Jeff, but we have Jaws, and I think I could deal with that. So there is a shark on this list, and it's from Mark Spears Monsters number 3. This is the Jaws exclusive, retailer exclusive variant from KRS, the Comic Mint, and I'm trying to remember the third group. There's another third group, Eastside Collectibles. That's who it are. This book has not even been released, so they are taking pre-orders as we speak. This book is already at $85 raw. That's the last recorded sale, which was today. The book's fair market value is currently at $89, so it's roughly about the same price. 9.8s are already selling for $162. This made the trending list only on Cover Price, and the sales volume of this book is 21%. That's how many sales this book has already had right from the beginning. The hype level of this book is at a high because it is a Mark Spears, and Mark Spears, how could he go wrong? And to top it off, he gives us Jaws.
And I love how it's just almost like the poster, but they've turned the perspective to it, brought the camera around a different angle. I love that. I love this cover. It's amazing.
I agree. I love the Jaws cover, but like you said, it's his own special little twist on Jaws without doing an exact one-for-one replica. I think this was really cool. We keep talking about him in blues, but
I know
you can't get more blue than this.
No. This is one I might have to try to order.
Nerdy Geek, I have 2 metal covers. Ooh, look at Nerdy Geek's
Nice.
always on top of the pulse. I will say that much. Okay, so there you have it. Mark Spears Monsters number 3. That came in number 10. Let's take a look at what's the next book in our list. And that is Return of the Living Dead number 1. This book is also a Mark Spears cover. This book came out on New Year's Day, so it's 2025. It's the first book of 2025, hot book of 2025. Last recorded sale was at $18 raw. Fair market value of this book is currently at $11, with 9.8s going for about $87. This book made it to CBSI and Cover Price, and they both had it at number 6. Sales volume of this book is at 143%. The height level of this book is at a medium right now, and the reason why this one's at a medium and not as high as the other book is because it's not really outperforming. It's a $20 book at the most right now. So though it's more than street value or cover price or anything like that, there seems to be enough books.
Yeah, and I think people are more drawn to the actual Mark Spears book because they know it has Mark Spears art inside as well, whereas this is strictly the cover.
I agree with that. This is the cover by with his, first of all, it's Return of the Living Dead, so we're talking about cult classic series, but like you said, this is a cover by as opposed to supporting Mark Spears as far as his art goes, as the books go. So that's that. There he goes. I have 7. I think he has enough, right? I have 2. Ooh, of the Virgin Sharks. Nice one, DVH. And of course, hoot to you too, my friend. All right, Return of the Living Dead, number 9 on this list. Let's take a look at what's number 8. Spawn 360. This is the Brett Booth 150, another book that came out of Image Comics in 2024. This book is currently going at $215 raw. That was the last sale, and its fair market value is about $218, so it's around the same thing. We have no recorded slabs just yet. CBSI had this at 5. Cover Price had this at 8. Sales volume of this book is at 36%. The hype level for this book is still high. People are still hunting down those Spawn covers. They're hunting down anything with Todd McFarlane's name attached to it. So what's your thoughts?
So this book, I think, is going to keep going because I read Spawn 360 and I really liked it. I've kind of been out of the Spawn game for a while and just back now because Todd Father's writing, and it was a good story. I liked it.
Yeah, and, Todd's back to writing. He's making the rounds. He's going to be at MegaCon. So we're going to see more Todd. And by seeing more Todd, you're going to see books of his. And if Todd is showing up to MegaCon, I'm only assuming he's bringing something with him.
Oh, yeah.
And we will see it on this list shortly. Okay. We got some more people that just jumped in. We got TM Nerdy in the house. He's saying hi to you. He doesn't say hi to me. Look at that. See, that's the kind of love he gets. He says hi to DVH. He says hi to Lot Screwses. Says hi to Joffrey. Says hi. Oh, wait. He did say hi to me. My bad. Did I skip his comment about Jeff? Did I went back there? I got the comment here on the Riddle Me This, but I didn't see no Jeff comment. Did we see that? I think it was erased. I didn't do it.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. We got that 80s guy. What's going on? Yeah, Todd McFarlane, the other TM. That's right. You're the only TM in our world. Isn't that true? So Spawn 360 is at number 8. Let's take a look at our next book. Back to Mark Spears. Mark Spears Monsters number 1. This is cover A. This is them looking down on us. This book came out last year. The raws are going for $285. That was the last recorded sale. The fair market value is $172. 9.8s are going for $321. It is number 6 on CBSI, number 7 in Cover Price. The sales volume is at 47%. This hype level is also at a medium because, again, it's starting to dwindle down, but he's still pretty hot.
I'm really looking forward to, I said it last week, say it again this week, a few weeks from now, whenever all those orders of all the books that after this was hot and everybody knew about it, the pre-orders, to see kind of where this book lands then.
Yeah, it's one of those books, right? This is kind of the start of it. Everyone knows the Bridezilla one is the one that's like the real sought after, but this is the cover A. At the end of the day, this is the original book,
Yeah.
and we're not seeing Bridezilla anymore. We'll see another book here and there, but being that this is cover A, there's a lot of people that are loyal to cover A's as opposed to getting the variants. So that's probably why this book is still on this list, because those people are still grabbing this book. All right. I said, in case you bring him up, I put, oh, no, no, no. We do not do that. That is not this type of show. We are Jeff supporters. We love Jeff. Comic Caps Collectible. I love you too, bro, even though you're from New Jersey. I think I'll be seeing Rich in a little bit. We got Black Spiders in the house as well. What's going on, Black Spiders? Let's see. Who else we got? And if anyone sees I just made it.
Poor Jeff, he's lost in the ocean of comments.
I'm pro Jeff. Thank you. DVH is pro Jeff. Now we're gonna spotlight DVH's comics more. How could you not love Jeff? Just saying. Jeff is the man. That's a shark. Land shark. Right? Yes, I'm with Nerdy Geek. Jeff will bring in young readers and save our beloved hobby. I totally agree with that. Okay. All right. It is now time to take a look at what's number 6. The main man returns to the list. He's at number 6 in this list. This book came out in 1990 for DC Comics. Raw, last sold for $183. However, they're going for $9. I do believe that 183 is more of a, it's not a raw. That's got to be a graded book. So now I think I got a typo. So let me just confirm this information so that when we fix it later.
I love this cover too. Like, just, we've said it before, it just stands out. The 99-cent price tag sticker.
Yeah, so
on it.
It is a typo. So it's actually $17. So I'll fix that. So let me go back to fix this. This book came out in 1990 for DC Comics. Raw is going for $17. That's the last recorded sale. The fair market value of the book is $9. 9.8s are going for about $170. This came in number 4 in cover price. Sales volume of this book is really high at 134%, which also keeps its hype level high. As you were saying about this cover.
Yeah, I love this cover. It stands out, like we said last week when it popped up. We're going to see it again probably. I love the 99-cent sticker. Mm-hmm. Just the art is great. Just all around really standout cover.
Yeah, the 99 cents is because the quality of the book. So this was one of those, they wanted to make a lot of these books. So it's kind of like, if you remember in the late 90s or early 2000s when they were doing like the 10 cents adventure, or which would eventually become Free Comic Book Day. This was kind of in that same world where we want to get this book out to people. So they made a 99 cents. They made it affordable. That's what they did. They made it affordable. But the quality of the paper is kind of rough. So to get a high grade copy, it's a little challenging because it's not good quality paper. Look at that. Cliff shows up on your channel, but he doesn't show up on my channel. See how Cliff loves me? This is.
And I almost didn't join it, like share it or whatever.
And TM Nerdy saying, who's Lobo? He's some dude. You did. JLI 18 should be on this list. Unfortunately, it did not. There are other books that are actually on other lists. Like Key Collector has a lot of books on the list when it comes to Lobo. However, this one's still a top performing book. This is one of the top performing books, right? And that's my point. It's like we have lists, and when you look at their sales volume, it doesn't match up, if that makes sense. So what makes a book a top 10 candidate should be the sales volume. If the sales volume is lower, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. You can have a really expensive exclusive book and the price can be high, but if no one can get it, I mean, why should it be on a list? So I totally agree with it. Sales volume is a key factor.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's take a look at what's number 5. All right, here we go. This is one of 3. I'm just giving you guys heads up. So let's start off by giving you the details. Amazing Spider-Man 65, the Marvel's Rival variant. This book came out this Wednesday. It's going for $25 already. Fair market value of this book is at $24. There are 9/8 already being sold for $85. It made it to CBSI number 3. It made it to cover price at number 5. The sales volume of this book is at 46% with a hype level of high. So this is the first of 3. Let's talk about Marvel Rivals comics.
Oh, busy. So last Wednesday I was at the store. Some of the ones we're going to talk about, I had them all in my hand. I'm like, video game covers. And I'm remembering like the .0 and I put them all back.
You mentioned something that did the same thing that happened to me as well. I saw them and I thought of the Capcom covers.
Yeah.
And the Capcom covers were fine, but no one went crazy searching for them.
Yeah.
These came out and I like the marketplace is very odd because I'm trying to determine who's actually buying these books. And I'm starting to think these are speculators purchasing books with the speculation that you're going to sell them. I don't think there is a long-term investment for these books. As much as Marvel Rivals is hot as of right now, and we're going to get to that with the other books that we're going to see on this list, I don't think there's true value in these books right now.
And that's why I put them back. Although I will say that this Wednesday, I will be buying all of them.
If they're there.
Yeah, exactly. These will be hard to get this week, which is going to just kind of fan the flames of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. And this week, there's one book that's scheduled to come out. There's only one. So out of all the Rivals books, there's going to be one book. We'll talk about it when we get to the new releases. Yeah, I agree. The Rivals covers are fire. And when did this? It came out Wednesday. It came out this week. What's going on, Tone? Hey, Tone, what's going on, my man? Yeah, they're video game nerds. Yeah, those are the guys that are buying it. Shane reminds me of having The Walking Dead number 1. Oh, oh, that's sad. But who would have known? Honestly, who would have known with The Walking Dead?
I did the same thing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm like, who is going to read a comic about turtles? And I put it back.
You see, that one hurts more than Walking Dead because the price of that book today is... I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I know. I don't look at it.
They're kind of all right, but will waste my money. Yeah, I think if you're going to purchase these books, you're going to purchase it for 2 reasons. You're going to purchase it because you like them, 1, or you're going to purchase it so you could sell it short term. These books don't have, I'll say the word that I say a lot, longevity. I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. And then we'll see if we eat our words in 90 days.
Well, keep in mind the other thing. There's other books that have come out with similar themes, and they may not be dollar bin books, but they're like $5 bin books.
Yeah.
So
even those .0 Fortnite books, the Batman ones, were really hot at first and really hard to get, and no one had them, and then now they're in the
they're all over.
bin.
Yeah, they're in the packs, the DC packs. They're giving them away like that. So that's the first of our list. Amazing Spider-Man 65, the Marvel Rivals variant. Every so often, a book comes out where you got to say to yourself, what the hell just happened? Now, we know what happened with this one. But still, at first glance, if you don't know why, you have to say to yourself, what the L? What the F, right?
Yeah.
Before we start talking about it, let's go ahead and talk about this book, Fantastic Four 280. This book came out in 1985 by John Byrne. $14 raw was the last recorded sale. The fair market value of this book is at $6 raw, $100 at 9.8. It is number 1 on Key Collector, number 4 on CBSI, and it's actually, oh, look at that. Another one. I got another typo. What is wrong with me? Oh God, we didn't catch, and I had you look over them.
I know.
It is number 10 on cover price. So rewind the clock a little bit. It's number 1 on Key Collector, number 4 on CBSI, number 10 in cover price. The sales volume of this book is at 60%. The hype level is at a high. Okay, guys, let's talk about Malice. Who is Malice? Shane, do you know who is Malice?
Well, I know why everybody's talking about Malice, but I maybe like you, I don't know. I open up the internets and flip through my thing, and all of a sudden these covers keep popping up, and I'm like, what? Why is anybody paying attention to this book? Look at the cover. What is this? And then I got to figure out what's going on. So again, it's a video game book.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you who don't know the news, Fantastic Four are now part of Marvel Rivals, and there is a skin for Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, and it just so happens to be Malice, and that caused a stir in the comic book market, in which all the speculators went out to look for this book, Fantastic Four 280, which happens to be our first appearance of Sue Storm as Malice, which is more of a cameo, and then she gets the cover appearance in 281. 281 is also hot. It just hasn't made it to the top 10 list. It made it to other top 10 lists, but it hasn't made it just yet. We will. I do believe we will see it, or this book will just disappear. It's one of those books that I don't think, another book that doesn't have a lot of history with it. I could, however, see the MCU touch this story, not now, but in the future.
Yeah, and I often wonder, what do you think happened in the boardroom for Marvel Rivals and Marvel? Hey, we've got this movie coming out, Fantastic Four. Let's get these characters in if people are playing this game. Oh, but Sue Storm, she looks so boring. We gotta can't we make this look better? And then somebody brought up Malice, and boom, now
there you have it. Well, we could get Thing with the helmet. Remember when Thing had the helmet at a time? Give me that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let's see here. So for those of you who don't know who Harley Cameron is a wrestler. She's a female wrestler for AEW. I didn't know she was married, so congratulations, DVH. Not so much as Jessica Alba, but Harley Cameron, definitely she doesn't hurt the eyes. I gotta get a Who Homage sketch cover of that. All right. For years, I've been trying to get the whole John Burns FF collection. So, have you ever heard about this story?
In this comic? No.
Yeah. So, oh my God, what's the name of the hate monger? I think is the name of the villain. So he's some throwaway villain that they created, but the story has a lot of depth to it, where all the character does is he manages to get all the emotions that you feel. So this was like a through line within the Fantastic Four series of everybody in the city was starting to get it's a common story that you hear. It's kind of like taken out of Ghostbusters 2, where something's in the air that's causing people to be mean to each other. Right? So it's that kind of story. And apparently he takes advantage of Sue Richards. And in the story, he manages to manipulate her to become Malice. So it's a form of taking out all your feelings inside, your internal feelings. What's interesting about the story is that these were feelings she had already. So he didn't give her new feelings. These were feelings that came out of her about how she felt insecure, how she, no one cares about her, that she's like lesser of the team because she's a woman, to the point that this was also the story that led us to changing her from being called Invisible Girl to Invisible Woman. During this story is when they changed her name to Invisible Woman. And there's a really cool video out there. I don't want to take the credit for getting this information from Casually Comics. So I'll probably put a link in the description somewhere so you guys could check it out. She just posted it today. She wanted to talk a little bit about that costume because let's be honest, it's quite a provocative costume.
Reminds me of the Goblin Queen, right?
I'm just saying, and there's and that's exactly the thing. It is exactly that. The Goblin Queen. It's all from that. So they call it a lighter version of the Dark Phoenix saga. That's a comparison to the story. But it's still John Byrne on Fantastic Four, him doing kind of the stuff that he probably would have done in X-Men anyway if he was on X-Men. So this book is a good read. Give it time, and I guarantee you it's not going to be, we're not talking about $100 comic. This comic book's going to drop again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. And I got to say what's up to Christina Payne. I didn't get a chance to say what's up. What's up, Christina? She's in the house. She's going to be dropping in the links. You know how she does. Remind me who she and AW got. You see, they're looking for Cameron. Look her up. What's up, Comics and Braves? How you doing, my man? All right, let's go to our next book in our list, and that is Magic #1. This book also came out last week, but the book that people are hunting for is the Marvel Rivals variant. This book is at $35 raw. However, the fair market value of this book is at $33. No recorded slabs. Number 3 in CBSI. Number 5 in cover price. Sales volume of this book is at 63%. Hype level is high. This one is higher than Amazing Spider-Man because 1, it's Magic. 2, it's a #1. And 3, of course, is Marvel Rivals.
Yeah. And it's already going to a second print, that Magic #1. It'll be interesting to see if they do another second print Rivals cover as well. I didn't look at the solicitations for them, but it's selling out. All the other covers and this cover. So
yeah, Magic sells. People just love Magic. And for a lot of people, they're cover buys more than anything. But there's some great Magic covers.
Yeah, and I did read this one. It's a really good story. I'm a Magic fan, and I think the story was really good in the right direction. And I'm looking forward to issue 2, so that adds to it as well.
Great. So that's Magic #1. The Marvel Rivals came in #3. Let's take a look at what our #2 book is. Notice Marvel Rivals. It's still there. All new Venom #2, the Marvel's Rivals variant. This book also came out last week. It's going for $23 raw. That was the last recorded sale. And the fair market value is $27. There are 9.8s that are being sold for $96. It was #3 on CBSI, #5 in cover price. The sales volume of this book is at 67%. What am I going to say about the hype level? It's Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, and again, had it in my hand. And this one also, again, has some story significance as well. So that's also making it harder to get on top of the Rivals thing. So again, another good book. I should have just bought them.
So those 3 are going to be the hottest books out of all the set. Again, there is one other book coming out this week. So the print orders could probably be low. So that's going to be like an instant sellout. We'll see how that turns out for next week in the list. But for #1, it's not a Rivals. It's Omega Men 3. The main man still dominates the list this week. His book is going for $155 raw. Fair market value of this book is at $110 raw. 9.8s are selling for $372. #8 in CBSI. And look, cover price is a question mark. It's actually, I didn't fix it. Cover price is #5. So trending list, not on Key Collector. #8 on CBSI. #5 in cover price. The sales volume of this book is at 273%. This book is selling, and it keeps on selling. And that's why the hype level is high. And that is why this book is at number 1.
Yeah, and I think everybody that has any inkling of Lobo or Jason Momoa or James Gunn, it's all points to get excited about his movie appearance. And so people are looking for comics, and we all win with that in the end, I think.
This is a book that is definitely worth picking up. And I think that's what's causing the sales volume to be so high, is that the people that are picking it up know that this book has longevity to it. Also, they're picking it up because the announcement was made 2 weeks ago, because it's now been 2 weeks. Would you believe that? The announcement's been made 2 weeks ago. However, once we see a trailer with him as Lobo,
Oh, yeah.
all those people that bought the books this time around are going to be selling it that time around. And that's why this is worth the purchase. Now,
Yep.
I wouldn't over purchase it. I wouldn't pay more than what the fair market value is, but I will keep my eyes open to see what's going on. And at the same time, give it time, because as the news starts, it becomes normal. It's going to die down a little bit. That's probably going to be the best time to purchase it. And then once that announcement hits, boom, you got yourself a book that's worth reselling.
Yeah, and if you put it on a list or a saved list, you might be able to snag, if you're looking for a copy, like a good deal on one, because there's going to be a lot of buying and selling in the market, and there might be some sales that are missed by people.
Exactly. So I did see some people show up. I think I already said what's up to Comic Embrace. Let's see. Those Marvel Rivals covers will end up in the set lot on eBay probably for more than what they are actually. Yeah, they probably will. People are collecting for set lots. We got Random Reads. What's going on? This is the hottest thing in quite a while, and for good reason. Wellbore, I saw him earlier. So what's up, Wellbore? He's saying what's up to everybody in the chat. Let's see here. Cool. Awesome. So there you have it, guys. That's the list for this week. What do you think about the ranking system? Which books do you have? Let me know in the comments. And let's see what happens next week. Will Rivals dominate the list next week? Will we see Malice return? Or will Lobo continue to reign supreme in our list? Or will something new happen? Who knows? I have a feeling that a book is coming out this week that will be on this list. We'll talk about that book later.
Yeah.
I have this really good hunch that that's going to happen. So, wow.
I think you're right.
I just have a feeling, you know what I'm saying? For those of you who don't know, we do have a goal going on there. If you put a goal of any type, any chat, we're gonna the first 5. If the first 5 will put in one book in the giveaway box, which you will qualify for. If we get all 10, we're gonna put the 2 books in this pack. So it's a goal. It's a super chat of any size. It doesn't matter what size it is. It could be 99 cents for all I care. It doesn't matter. So that's gonna be in there. The goal is there. We got about an hour and a half left for it. I want to add these 2 books in the box. So let's see if we get those chats in there. Okay, those super chats. Okay. With that said, let's remove this from the studio because we don't need that. We're going to go into a portion of the show that I specifically like, and that is a book. We're going to take a look at some books from 30, 60, 90. Some books we've talked about before. There might be some books that could be new. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, starting now. $30, $60, $90 is the part of the show where we look at books that were top trending book for its week, and we're going to compare it to its numbers today as what they look like now. As you could see, there's some books in this list that we've talked before ad nauseum, to tell you the truth, but there's some books here that may be a little shocking for some people. So what do you think so far?
Just like you said, so I'm happy to see Spawn in. I don't know if it's because of 360 and the 1 in 50 covers of Gunslinger and Spawn,
Mhm.
or that it's created some interest, or
Mhm.
if it's just, hey, it's Spawn, so we love it.
And to be fair, when it comes to books like Spawn, like X-Men #1, like Spider-Man #1, those are books that will always be top selling books. They're always top selling books, to the point that if we were to do an absolutely true selling titles, they'll always be on the list, and then they'll end up being boring. So who
Yeah,
knows? You know what I mean?
yeah.
So let's take a look at that first book, which is Spawn. So Spawn #1, this book came out in 1992 in Image Comics. This was the #1 book from cover price on December 9th of 2024. It had a top weekly sale of $169 for 9.8. Weekly units sold at that time was 110 copies. It had a 21% growth. The most common raw was going for $21 near mint, while the most common slabs were going for $155 at a 9.8. So let's take a look at how it's performing now. And to be completely honest, I don't think it's performing bad at all. I think it's actually a book that, as I mentioned before, continues to sell. Uh, so we look at the book today and we do our comparison. The last recorded sale of Spawn was at $70. This was today, and it was a 9.4. So someone got a 9.4 for $70. That's not bad. That's not
That's a
bad at
good
all,
price. Yeah.
right? The book itself is going for about $29 now, so it actually increased in value, as well as 9.8s are going for about $136. So if we take a look at its highest performance, 9.9 sold in 2021 at almost $10,000, $5 short of $10,000. What do you think on that?
Man, these 9.9 sales, as a person that has a whole bunch of books that are being sent in eventually, I would be worried if I held a lot of 9.8s.
Well, yeah, exactly. So if you look at the recorded sales, this is what I was talking about. 12,200 recorded sales. That is not including going to conventions and places where you can do it, because these are sales that are done through eBay, My Comic Shop, Shortbox, those places, right? This book it still sells. It just still sells. And if we look at the sales figures, we can see here there was we have at least 4 sales in January already. And you have more sales going up here with the graded. I'm not going to even go into the list anymore, but it's still a hot book. It'll always be a hot book.
12,000 in sales still. That's more than some independents have on a brand new comic release day.
Agreed, definitely. So this is one of those books that I have to say it just stays relevant. People still love Spawn.
I pulled my copy out to check it for
Ugh.
because it's in the pile to go to CGC,
Mhm.
and it's a newsstand. Oh yeah.
I had so there's the 3D. I had that one, the mocha version. I actually sold that to somebody. Um, I'm okay with that. Okay, that's Spawn. Let's go back to the stage. That was 30 days. Let's take a look at the book that was hot 60 days ago. Spider-Boy 11. This came out not that long ago from Marvel Comics 2024. This was #1, November 11th, 2024, week 2. The top weekly sales of this book was $60 at a 9.8. It sold 43 units that week with a growth of 397%. The most common raws were $26 near mint, while the slabs were $64 at a 9.8. What do you think about Spider-Girl now?
Well, so I read Spider Boy, and I don't dislike it, but it's just kind of okay for me right now. My youngest, he's 12. He reads it. He loves it.
Mhm.
So I kind of, absorb, what they like as well and what they're doing. So
Okay. So let's take a look at this book today, how it stands. So the significance of this book is that it's the first appearance of a character who will become the new Spider-Girl. So this is a first appearance of a new character within the Spider-Boy comics. The last recorded sale of this book is at $19. So we see it trending downwards. Well, that's about the same price, $20 for the most common Raws, and 9.8s are going for about $92. If we take a look at its highest known sale, it was a 9.8 on November 15th, roughly about 60 days ago, for $120. The book, it's still selling from, you can see from this list here. So let's, but we see a near mint was sold on the 10th of January. December had a couple of sales. November had a couple of sales. This book is trajecting down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I would expect that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't think Spider-Girl as a character today, we're going crazy over. Because this, first of all, this is not the first Spider-Girl.
Yeah.
Right.
And it'll all depend on the arc in the story. Mm-hmm. She's paired with Boomerang or Bullseye, and there's an interplay with that, so you don't really know where the character is going to end up, and that's kind of, I think, also dragging the book down a little bit.
Yeah, and it's story based. It's not based off of anything else, which I like. I think that's good for the business, that there are stories that are causing the market to jump at it, so people go crazy to learn of it. But at the same time, if the character's not in any relevant story, then the character's first appearance will definitely suffer in the market.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're down to one more book in our list, and we've talked about it a lot. Absolute Batman #1. What am I going to say about this book that hasn't been said? It was #1 on October 14th. The weekly sales at that time was at $30. The weekly units sold was 131. It had a growth at that time, 252%. The Raws were going for 17. And at that time, there were no recorded slabs. Whew, it's time to talk about some Batman. That we have, it's as if we haven't spoken about Absolute Batman all day today until now. So let's take a look at these figures.
As Chris says, omnipresent.
Exactly.
Absolute Batman, omnipresent.
$35 for the book. It's going for a no grade. Most common is $39 for a Raw. Slabs are going for about $110. If we look at another 9.9, $600 for 9.9. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. 600 if you really loved it and you want to hold on to it, I guess, but there's just going to be so many of them. I can't see that price maintaining over time, like over long time. Mm-hmm. Longevity, like you say.
We're one shy away, which I'm sure already ever happened, for 1,600 copies being recorded as sold in the aftermarket.
That's a lot.
That sounds like a hit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do think there's a little bit of suffering going on with Absolute Batman now, especially with the last issue that came out with issue number 4. Issue number 4, though the story was fine, people were very upset at the art. I myself included.
Yeah.
It was not up to par. Go ahead.
I think more than the art, it's that each one, like Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, especially, well, both really have had very consistent art to tell the story of these new characters. And with Absolute Batman, this latest issue, it just kind of, it doesn't mesh with it as well. So I think that's hurting it a lot.
Yeah. And I think that's part of it. It's like, we wanted to see it. I told him himself, I told Scott Snyder, I'll give you 3 issues. If you got me in 3 issues, you got me. Which, it's funny, it took 4 issues for me to say, what the heck happened? You know what I mean? And it's not to say that it's a bad story, because it's not. It's more on the lines of, you took a left turn when we were with you on the ride.
Yeah.
It's like you stop at 7-Eleven for a second when we wanted to get to the main event. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally agree. Just it's a little bit too much of a change that early on in a series because it just doesn't inspire faith in things going forward. To me, anyway.
Yeah. And if you know your artist is unable to perform to 4 issues, then plan ahead. You planned this for a while. You got to 4 issues and you changed the artist on us because you want to do a different type of story at this moment. No, we want to know how the story is projecting. And usually when we get a guest artist, will be like on issue 7 or something like that.
Right.
You give it to us at issue 4, it feels wrong.
Yeah.
And again, we're gonna keep it simple. The book still sells. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Not for a while. So that's Absolute Batman. It's a very simple 30, 60, 90. We're not going to go too long into it. But tell me what you guys think of this list. Do you feel like Spawn is the best book of the 90s? Many people do feel that way. Do you think Spider-Girl has legs? And finally, how do you feel about Absolute Batman 4 issues in now? Let me know in the comments there. And with that said, let's remove that. Oh, look at that. Boof. All right, let's go back to the chat for a second here because I know some people were saying a few things. First, annoyingly ill Lancher now. It's most.
I'll take Jeff any day over Spider-Boy.
I have a feeling that Joe has this thing against kid characters.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. You know, so Joe, I have your box ready to go. I'm going to be sending it out soon. I'm thinking about changing some of the books in there and giving you a whole bunch of kitty books just for the fun of it.
All Jeff, all
Jeff,
Spider-Boy.
all Spider-Boy. We got to find some other. We'll throw in Dogman. We'll throw in that one. You know, all that fun stuff. Spawn never gets old. You are correct in saying that. Kenneth Bird, what's going on? Hi to everyone. I will always be a Spawn fan. He's gonna start singing it. He's gonna start singing that. And I will always be a Spawn fan. Yeah. I just lost my monetization. We got Matt. Matt is on your channel. What's up, Matt? Heroes High. All right. Izzy, don't you even. Oh, I have the power. Jeff and Spider are the best things Marvel. The shark prejudice is real. Oh man,
who can be anti-fish?
Who can be anti-fish? Right? I'm just saying. Okay, guys, we need our goals. Our super chats are empty. We got nothing going on in our super chats. We got to get our super chats in. Make sure you put your super chat. I want to add these books in there. So, super chat of any kind. That's our goal. Our goal is 10. Let's hit our goal, guys. It's going to be fun. All right. I clicked on the first stream I saw. Yes. Well, if you go to my stream, you can be part of the super chat, and I will add these books if we hit 10. If we hit 5, I'll add this one. If we hit 10, I'll add both of them. Look at it. Okay, if I apologize, we'll leave my. Well, the Disney what ifs are pretty cool too. Well, the Disney books, some of them are nice, some of them I like them, some of them are, you know. Anyway, let's go ahead and we're gonna talk about someone. We did a poll. Did a poll not that long ago, actually. The poll was happening over the weekend on who is your favorite 70s comic creator. Now, the truth is, everybody in that list was definitely worth it, and we could have done a creator spotlight for any one of them. But I put the ball in your court, and let me just do a quick scan here and see where because it was by unanimous, not unanimous, but it was pretty much majority. We have a winner. We had 97 votes in. That's probably the most amount of votes I could think of. 97 votes in. From this, 56% of the votes went to one of the creators who we're going to spotlight today. And let me, before I go, I hate pretty much everything Marvel's doing lately. Heroes. I open both in separate browsers.
Yes.
We're
That's the
both
way to-
getting ours, right?
That's the way to do it.
Okay. Going back to where I was saying as far as the who we picked. So we wanted to give you guys the opportunity. There was somebody I thought that was going to win. Turns out this other person ended up winning, and I'm not surprised by it. So from the people that we had selected, we had Neal Adams, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Gene Colan, and Bernie Richardson. And I thought Bernie was going to win.
Me too.
It wasn't Bernie. It was Neal. And Neal Adams is who we're going to spotlight today in Creator Spotlight. So a lot of people wanted Bernie, but it didn't showcase in the chat, in the poll. In the poll, Neal Adams got 56%, and Bernie got about 20.
Like you said, you could pick any of them. They're all good.
Mm-hmm. So we decided we're going to go with Neal Adams. We will eventually get to everyone in that list. I think sooner or later we're going to get to everyone on this list because this has been one of the most successful parts of the show. The numbers, the analytics have been great. So for those of you who are watching the replays, thank you for watching the replays. I really do appreciate it. If this is the first time you're watching the Creative Spotlight, thank you for watching the Creative Spotlight. You're not going to be disappointed with this list. We were able to grab as many. This is probably going to be the longest list. Another reason why we decided to start a little earlier too. It's a long list. There's going to be some rare books that you're going to be surprised in. Yes, you're going to see books that you know, but you're also going to see books that you probably didn't even know existed. And that's the point of Creator Spotlight. So we're going to focus today on Neal Adams. Don't forget, hit that like, subscribe, leave a chat. Leave a super chat if you can, and thank you. Okay, Neal Adams. Let's do a little bio. Neal Adams was a legendary comic book artist and creator rights advocate who reshaped the industry into the Bronze Age. He co-created iconic DC comic characters like John Stewart, Man-Bat, and Ra's al Ghul, and alongside writer Denny O'Neil, redefined Batman by returning the character to his dark, gothic roots and brought Joker back to being a homicidal maniac. Their groundbreaking Green Lantern, Green Arrow series introduced John Stewart and addressed social issues. Yeah, there was a lot of those. Adams co-founded Continuity Associates in 1971, an influential art and design studio, and launched his own comic book company in Continuity Comics in 1984. A tireless advocate for creator rights, Adams helped secure pensions and recognition for Superman's creator, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. You got to look up some biographies on this. They're really good. Some documentaries on that. He was really big part of that. You can find iconic work in titles like Batman, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, X-Men, and the Avengers, and a whole bunch of other books. His innovative storytelling and realistic art style continues to inspire readers and creators alike. Fans can explore Neal Adams' work on his official website, nealadams.com. You could also go to his Instagram page, which is still active, and there's still stuff there. His legacy continues on and with his family. I know his daughter, Z Adams, is an artist. I see her all the time, so I can't wait to share this with her. Neal Adams passed away a few years ago. I do remember doing a video on him because he actually passed away around the same time George Perez passed away. They both share that time frame. And George Perez is another great artist from the 70s. Really made a name for himself more in the 80s, but he does count as a 70s artist. Where in Neal Adams, he started his career in the 60s, which we're going to look at some of his 60s work. But it wasn't until the 70s that he kind of like became the superstar artist and creator, really, because he wasn't just an artist, creator, advocate, you name it. Neal Adams is largely responsible for giving the credit back to the creator. So he was, if there was Image Comics in the 70s, Neal Adams would have been spearheading it. That's my personal opinion on that. What's your thoughts on Neal Adams and really what you know about him?
So I picked up a few books when I started. I was into Marvel more and got more into DC and the Batman and detective runs. And that's kind of where I started to notice his name. I had the great fortune to meet him and get a book signed at a local Comic-Con here in the Falls. Really nice to talk to. I mean, when you meet somebody like that, you know, you think of 20 questions right now when you're standing in front of them. It's like, you know. So it was a really great conversation despite that. And, you know, I'm just looking forward to going through and seeing some of these covers too and just enjoying them because it is like a long legacy of great books for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like you, I had the pleasure of meeting Neal Adams several times, to tell you the truth. He was very controversial when he did shows. And granted, his approach, not many people were happy about his approach to it, because he was one of the very first guys that charged people for signatures in a time that signatures were free. But he also looked at it as he was also a businessman. He was very keen on being a businessman. He was also very like blunt, which is something that is very hard in this kind of industry to be a part of when you're doing the convention scene, where if an artist came to you showing their artwork, it better be damn good if it was going in front of Neal Adams, because if it isn't, he's gonna tell you. He was just that type of guy, and I respect that in his style. Now, again, like I said, it was sometimes it was a little harsh for some people to handle it, but it is what it is. Okay. So before I even go out there, let's go ahead and see some more people that showed up here. I'm trying to get out of. So yeah, Wellbore voted for. Oh, Wellbore was a Neal. Thank you, Comic Embrace, for the creators. You know, we do our best. Yeah, I know Matt was gunning for a Bernie. Yeah, Neal is a ball break. Don't show him trash or waste his time. Yeah. To that story, there is a great story in regards to Neal Adams, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I see Brian LCF has joined us. What's going on, Brian? D, I don't know who D is, but welcome D to the channel. And Las Cruz also there were a few people that in the group that voted for Neal Adams. I'm gonna give you a nice story I heard about some famous artists who I wonder what Neal will tell them today. Because we'll talk about it. So there was an artist in the 70s who wanted to get into the business, and he somehow managed to get a hold of Neal Adams' telephone number. At that time, we had the yellow pages. For you kids don't know, that's how we were able to find people's name instead of the internet. He had the yellow pages, and Neal Adams was listed in the yellow pages. So this guy took the yellow pages, opened it up, found his name, and decided, what the hell? Let me call him. He calls
How many Neal Adams did he call?
I don't know, but he got a hold of him. He got a hold of Neal Adams, and he says, hey, so-and-so, this I'm not going to reveal who it is just yet. So-and-so, this is I'm an inspiring artist, and I would like for you to see my work. So I'm just envisioning Neal saying, how did you get my number? You know what I mean? But Neal agreed to see him, and he did see him, and he looked at his work, and he straight up told him, your work is garbage. So, you know, come back to me with good stuff. So he tells him, all right, I'll go ahead and do that. So what he did, he went back, did some work, came back. Neal still told him his work was garbage. He continuously told him that. But every time he kept coming back, he saw the tenacity of this individual. And then he finally contacted, I think, the folks at DC. I'm not sure it was DC or Marvel, but he did contact them. And he was able to get this artist a paying gig. As time progressed, this artist also became a famous writer. And he credits Neal Adams for his success. Black Spider knows who it is. It was none other than it was Frank Miller. So now that you heard this story, first of all, have you ever heard this story?
No.
Okay. What do you think Neal Adams will tell Frank Miller today?
I think you tell him to go back and keep working.
It's like, what the hell is this garbage you're throwing out there? Like, I'm trying to envision a story where Frank Miller is saying, I'm sorry. Hashtag Neal was right. But I'm trying to envision a story where Frank Miller is approaching Neal Adams and Neal Adams is telling him his work is garbage to get better. And Frank, let's be honest, he gets better.
Yeah.
Right? He gets better. He does phenomenal work. His stuff in Sin City is amazing. I'll admit to that. But now, today, looking at his style, it's like everything Neal taught him was like,
Yeah. He'd probably say stick to writing.
Right? Stick to writing. His writing hasn't been too good either lately. All right. So hashtag Neal was right. Can Neal give Frank a call again and discourage him, please? Neal will say, I always told you it was trash. Frank's all right in my book. He creates Dark Knight. That's not good enough for me. Mr. Adams was very kind to my entire family. Oh, cool. Signed books, artwork kept. That's awesome. That's good to hear. Yeah, there's some great stories about there. As many stories as people say about Neal Adams, there's some really good stories about Neal Adams. But man, seriously, I'm just thinking about that. Hey, Frank, what the hell's going on here? What the hell kind of Wolverine is that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Neal Adams' history here. His very first book was in 1960s in a company called Archie Comics, Adventure of the Fly, #4. This book's highest sale is at $850. That was back in June of 2024. Last recorded sale was $260 at a 5.5. That happened this month. The fair market value of this book is $90, while 5.5 was at $260. It's the same value. This is his first published artwork in comics. So, what's your thoughts on Archie comic?
Yeah, like just shows you just took work wherever you could get it in 1960. I mean, how many comics were there really?
Mm-hmm. And Archie Comics doing adventure comics. So,
yeah,
you know, and Archie still does adventure comics, but no one thinks about him. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
No one thinks about adventure comics with Archie. He does The Fly, and he got his first paying gig out of it. What's your thoughts on the price of the book?
You know what? For a very first work by that big of a person, like that big of a legendary creator, it's not bad.
Yeah, definitely not bad. Right. Let's go to our next one. This is really the one that most people are familiar with, and that's Archie's Joke Book Magazine #1. Also came out in 1960. This the high sale value is $850 as well. However, the last recorded sale of this book was at $80 at a very good. It's also the fair market value. We have no recorded slabs being sold. This is his second published comic book artwork featuring a 4-page illustrated story.
This one, I can see why it's a little bit more because it's going to have some actual interiors as well.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I kind of like the other cover better for showcasing his work personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's another Archie's book. Neal Adams does work in the book, where the other book, I think he was doing some more inks involved in the book. He did work in this book. But I'm not 100% sure what exactly he did in the book. But this is for many of them. This is his recorded first work, really. Even though Adventure of the Fly is his real first work. Now we're going to get into some more hardcore stuff with Creepy number 14, 1967 from Warren Publishing. Highest sale of this book was $165, 9.2. This is way back in 2018. Last recorded sale was $15 of this book, and that is what the fair market value of this book is. 9.2 is $159. This features interior artwork by Neal Adams in a story titled Cursed of the Vampire.
Yeah, and this would likely be magazine size, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not an unreasonable price either for that $15. Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. $15. Very good. So it's not exactly near mint, but still, you get Neal Adams' first horror series, really. That's what it is. And a lot of people don't know he had a big hand in a lot of horror books, too. He was, mostly known for his, superhero stuff, but he has a good list of books that fall under the horror genre.
Yeah, and I think all that stuff was earlier on, and he's developing, and then doesn't get to the superheroes until he's like, really on his game.
Yeah, and this is a 7-year gap from 1960 to 1967. So you could tell he's been working his grind. So he's been in the business now for 7 years. And this is his first horror book. So let's take a look at our next book in this list. This one shocked me. Okay. The Adventures of Jerry Lewis 101. This book came out in 1967 for DC Comics. The highest sale of this book was $25, and that was December 2024. That was just a month ago. Last recorded sale was $2, and the fair market value is $8, and there's no recorded slabs. But this is his first published DC comic.
I searched eBay earlier today for this book, and I could buy it right now for $15, and the listings have no mention that it's his first work. That's how you know that Izzy is ahead of the game.
I did some research here, and his first book is a Jerry Lewis book.
Snatch it up now.
And then grade it, because apparently there's no graded copies. Show up in Overly Slab saying, here's his first book in DC Comics. It's Jerry Lewis.
Yeah. Unbelievable value right there.
Mm-hmm. Goes to show you that even the classics, the classic artists and writers, even they have books that are inexpensive.
Yeah. Because a lot of the stories are getting, the histories of the people are getting lost. Mm-hmm. So people remember the most common books that are newer, but these older kind of career forming books are kind of getting forgotten.
Yeah. Now let's start getting into some more books that we're starting to know him for. And that is Our Army at War 182. Also 1967. It actually came out within a month's time of that other one. The highest sale value of this book is at $450 at a 9.2. That was in 2023. Last recorded sale was $29. Very good. That was earlier this week. And the fair market value is $24 at a very, very good. $450, 9.2. This is his first published DC war comic, and it features Sergeant Rock by Neal Adams.
Very cool. And you know that these books were dragged around, folded in back pockets, crushed in the bike seats. So that's showing the value. And war books are very sought after as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people love war books. So, it's, I think 9.2, 450 and 9.2, that's a great price for a book, right?
Yeah.
And then to find out that it is a Neal Adams did work on the book. And it also says Desert Rats. So, you can't go wrong if it says Desert Rats.
That's right.
All right. Superman's Girlfriend, Lois Lane, 79. This came out in 1967. The highest sale of this book is at $28, and that was all the way back in 2020. Last recorded sale of this book was $22 and a fine, and that was earlier this week. And fair market value is $11. There's no recorded slabs, and this is a DC comic cover by Neal Adams featuring Superman. This is his first published Superman cover.
And another great deal. And not one that probably, if you look this up, you probably did. I didn't check this one on eBay, but maybe it's not even listed as being his first time doing Superman.
It's just, but he did the cover work. So
yeah,
he only did the cover in this book, but you could see it's him.
Yeah,
like the way he draws Superman is very recognizable.
Yeah,
and you could get this book for under $20. That is perplexing.
Yeah, that's a great deal.
Mm-hmm. If I see this, I'm buying it. Just to say, I got his first. This is his first cover, his first Superman cover.
I'll be looking for this one too. Mm-hmm. I found a bunch from last week, Izzy. I'll find these ones.
Detective Comics 369. This came out in 1967 as well for DC Comics. Highest sale was at $28. This was November 2020. Last recorded sales value was at a 50. There's got to be a typo with that one. I just noticed that right now, because how could last recorded sale be last sale? Last recorded sale was $55, and this was recently. The fair market value is $22, 124 as 7.0. I definitely have to check out why there's a typo there for that one. So as you continue to talk, I'm going to go check it out to make sure I could get this fixed.
Yeah, and so his run on Detective, I came in a little bit later than this one, but this is a great cover too. I really like this, and he's one of my top Batman people as well. Like Aparo, Adams, those early people that drew him, I love their art.
Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at it now just to give you guys the correct information. So $3,000. That's more like it. That makes more sense now. So the book, the last recorded sales was $39. That's the last. This has to be information from the previous one, or something like that. Kind of upsets me now, but it's a $3,000 book because it is his first Batman work. So Neal Adams' first work in the Batman title, though he does not illustrate a Batman story. So he's in Detective Comics, but he's not doing a Batman story in this book.
That's like, so the next book, his first actual Batman interiors, is probably going not really as well known as this one, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, and he's doing a backup story for this one here. So that's the information there. But just to make sure I get you guys the right information that you need to have, that way when I do the recording again, I'm just going to reiterate it. So the highest sale of this book is at $3,000 at a 9.4. That was in August of 2022. The last recorded sale of this book was $39, and that was in January 12th. Most common is $20 for a raw, and $124 for a 7.0. So the fair market values are actually correct in this list. It was the last recorded, and the last recorded makes sense because that was yesterday's number. So when I did this, I think I did this on Saturday. So it just recently made a sale the next day after I did the recording. So that's the information there. But still, it's a fairly still very inexpensive book unless you decide to get a 9.4.
Right. Which 1967 9.4, amazing.
Yeah. Our next book is the very next book, and that is Detective Comics 70, also 1967. The highest sale of this book was at $3,000 in a 9.8 this year in 2025. That is impressive.
Yeah.
Right? That is also, this book has a fair market value of $29 and a fine, while a 9.4 are fetching for $235. This is considered his first published artwork on Batman, provided inks over Carmen Infanto's pencil. So he's not doing the penciling here. He is inking here.
First comic of an inker. How many of those do you keep track of?
It's still it's very impressive.
Yeah,
Still,
for sure.
that someone, first of all, someone was able to gather a 9.8 at $3,000. That's pretty.
Yeah. 1967 book, amazing.
Mhm. Brave and the Bold 75. This also came out in 1967. The highest sale of this book was $600 at a 9.6, and that was in September 2024. The last recorded sale of the book was $8, which was this week, and the fair market value is $7, $100 for 6.5. This is considered to be his first cover art done by Neal Adams, pencils by Neal Adams.
I love that cover. I think it's great.
It kind of gives me this Judge Death vibe to it as well. Maybe I'm not seeing it properly or something like that.
Yeah, I'm a huge Spectre fan, so anytime there's Spectres in the list, I like it.
Yeah. And again, another $7?
Yeah.
$8? I'll buy it.
Yep. Guaranteed I find this book. I'll find it.
Strange Adventures 207. This was 1967 as well for DC Comics. The highest sale of this book was $1,020 at a 9.6. That was in November of this past year. The last recorded sale was $35, which was this week. Fair market value of this book is at $94 fine, $660 for a 9.4. This is considered the third appearance of Deadman. It is an iconic cover that won him an Alley Award for Best Cover Art in 1967. So before I even let you speak, I honestly thought he created Deadman because he's so notorious for the character. He didn't create Deadman, but he made Deadman famous.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen this cover homaged at least a few times, if I remember right. And you can see why it won. It just stands out. Like as soon as you see it, it's a standout cover.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the start of his style, his realistic style. Now, you could look at his work here and you could see how he influences other people that follow. I'm guarantee you see George Perez. You see this? Yeah. George Perez was definitely influenced by Neal Adams' work, as well as many artists of the 80s and the 90s, because he had this style in the 60s that just didn't exist.
Yeah.
It just didn't exist because his style is so ahead of its time that he really, Steranko was considered, many consider Steranko to be the first superstar artist, but Neal Adams was just with him.
Yeah.
They were neck and neck with each other.
Just a lot of great detail and shading, obviously, with Deadman. Just makes it look so great.
Yeah. He took his time.
Yeah.
That's probably the way I look at it, where most people at that era, they were like very quick with their style. He took the time to make each character look different, feel different. When you saw someone, you knew who that was, as opposed to every character looking the same. He was one of those guys that created that. Made it harder for everybody else to follow, but
yep.
Batman 200, 1968 for DC Comics is the highest sale of 6,609.8. That was back in November of 2022. Last recorded sale of this book was $50, and that was this week in January. Fair market value of this book is at $52, while 9.0 are going for about $189. This is the debut artwork on a Batman title by Neal Adams. Iconic anniversary issue featuring Batman and Robin.
And again, if you had both those covers side by side, they would go great together because of the color combinations and layout.
Yeah, it's just a cool cover. It's an anniversary. It's the Smash issue, which reminds me, don't forget to hit that smash that like button at this moment. Batman's telling you to smash it. Uh,
Yep.
I love it. I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. Let's go to our next book. House of Mystery 175. This is him staying in his horror roots. 1968 DC Comics. The highest sale of this book was 1,680 at 9.2. That was in November of 2023. Last recorded sales value was 260 at a 5.5. That was January 7th of this year. Fair market value is $54 at a very good. $159 is 7.0. This features the first appearance of Kane, who is the House of Mystery's caretaker. Also features the first appearance of Gregory the Gargoyle. Kane is a very important character in the world of Sandman. And this is his first appearance. He's also Neal Adams, Neal Adams is also responsible for doing Abel as well. Though I don't have the recorded for that one. But I felt it was time to change it up a little bit here, where we're seeing Batman, we're seeing Superman. We're going to definitely see more Batman. We're definitely going to see more Superman. I wanted to throw in House of Mystery to show that he was still doing horror comics. And we're going to get to someone in the 70s that he was really responsible for.
I love the shading in this cover. I love the trade dress. It just is another great looking cover. You want to kind of read it by the cover alone. I like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It takes you back to that era, right?
Yeah,
which is really cool. It was really great seeing, post code horror comics.
Yeah.
Here's another one that was a big deal, and that is Showcase number 80, 1969 for DC Comics. This book has a high sale of $7,500 at a 9.8, which came out in April 2024. Last recorded sales was $30 earlier this week, and fair market value was $83. They're very good, $312 at an 8.5. This features the first appearance of the Silver Age Phantom Stranger. This is his cover art. So he didn't do the interiors, but he did the cover art for this book.
Yeah, and Phantom Stranger is a character I don't know a ton about, but I do like this cover. And again, you get that classic kind of trade dress and horror cover. Lots of stuff going on it, but it still looks really great.
Yeah. And Phantom Stranger is one of those characters, again, similar to what I mentioned with Sandman. He's part of that horror group. So you have JLA Dark. He's part of that in some way. It goes hand in hand. You mentioned the Spectre. Him and the Spectre are kind of like buddies in some way.
Yeah.
So he was a big part of the 70s and that 70s movement. And being that we're in 1969, we're going to get into the 70s in just a couple of minutes. This is kind of the start of that momentum change where we're going away from the Silver Age, and we're 1969 is still considered the Silver Age, but we're knocking the door on Bronze Age right now.
Yeah.
X-Men 56, 1969 from Marvel Comics. This has the highest sale of $1,861 at a 9.8. It was sold way back in December of 2013. Last recorded sale of this book was at a 6.0 for $105. Fair market value of this book is $42 at a very good. 9.2, $275. This features the first appearance of the Living Monolith. It's an iconic art cover. It's also his first Marvel cover. And there's something very important because he's grabbing the X-Men logo, which was a big deal then, where you have a character that was larger than life, so much larger than life that he was able to grab the trade dress.
Yeah, and I did not realize that later Dark Phoenix cover was a homage to this. I didn't know that till I saw this.
Yeah. And Living Monolith, I have a special place in my heart for the Living Monolith because my very first comic book that I purchased, like the very first comic book I purchased as part of my collection, is a comic that features the Living Monolith. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah, not much of a villain, but still, it's my very first comic, so I do have that. Now, what's important to note, as I mentioned, is that trade dress. Him grabbing the trade dress, that just did not happen. So he was going outside of the norm. He was thinking outside the box. Him
Yeah.
and Steranko were notorious for doing things like that. That's why I say when it comes to the creators at that time, Steranko and Neal Adams had to be hand in hand, especially with X-Men, because Steranko had a hand on X-Men creating that trade dress. And here you got Neal Adams grabbing the trade dress.
I just would have loved to have been in that meeting room when this idea gets presented or how this came about. Like you could have a whole documentary just on this one book,
Mhm,
on the idea and the germination of it, and
mhm,
presenting it to the editors maybe, and them not getting it. Like who knows what happens? Just a great idea,
mhm.
classic, and you're right, like way ahead of his time.
Yeah, and the thing is, at that time, they had trade dresses weren't something that you could just, you put it on a computer and you put the trade dress, right? No, they actually physically had to put these logos on the comics so that
Yeah.
they could then get them scanned in and then start printing them. So the process alone was very challenging. And what they did was they just had common trade dresses and they just slap it in. He went ahead and he did the trade and then he drew over it.
Yeah.
So so there there's a lot of things going on here that at that time it was like, oh man, I gotta do extra work, but it was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. This is definitely a book I'll be looking for this week. So
Mhm. Here's another popular X-Men book that he had a responsibility in, and that is 1969's X-Men 58 from Marvel Comics. High sale was $9,100 and 9.8 in 2020. This sold, so this was during the comic boom. The last recorded sale of this book was $115, and the fair market value of this book is at $73. Very good, while a $383 for 8.5. This is the first appearance of Havoc in costume.
and again, pushing that cover boundary again. How often did you see like a style like this with the cover, the character all one color, and then everybody knew Havoc's? Well, they didn't at the time with like his whole chest plate and everything. Just a
Mhm.
great, I just love it. Just really
Yeah,
good layout.
it's definitely great. And then again, like you mentioned, the overlay of the color, the orange.
Yeah.
Another thing that was kind of iconic about it, which made it stand out, is like, oh, dude, like they overlaid the cover. He's going beyond the trade dress as well, so it's very similar to the other one as well, where he's like, nah, man, I don't care about no trade dress.
I'm using the whole thing.
Yeah, this is mine.
Yeah.
This is my canvas. So really good stuff there. Now we're going to the return of Batman with Brave and the Bold 85. This also came out in 1969 for DC Comics. The highest sale is $875 for 9.4. That was in August. No, not August, October of 2024. Last recorded sale was $50. Fair market value of this book is at $50 at a very good, while $875 is the fair market value for the graded 9.4. This features the new Green Arrow in the look that we know and love.
Yeah. And I wasn't a huge Green Arrow fan. So seeing some of these covers is great. I just remember flipping through these old books and seeing this style cover from him because it
Mhm.
was, everywhere back when I was first collecting. There's a lot more common.
Mhm. Yeah, and one of the things, it doesn't happen here, but one of the things that Neal Adams was responsible is for changing Green Arrow from being just another version of Batman to becoming a different character altogether. Neal Adams was responsible with Denny O'Neil. They were responsible for changing that in Green Arrow, which ended up making Green Arrow a more popular character. To this day, he's very popular, and it's largely because of Neal Adams and Denny O'Neil's work on him.
Yeah, agreed.
Mhm. X-Men 60, we're going to stick with some X-Men stuff here. This came out in 1969 from Marvel Comics. The highest sale was at 9,609.8, and that was in 2022,
Unbelievable.
right? 3 years ago. Last recorded sale of this book was $10, and that was this week. Fair market
Wow.
value of this book is $40, very good, while $143 at an 8.0. This is the first appearance of Sauron, alter ego of Kara Lycos. How do you feel about Sauron?
You know what? I own this book, and I'm not saying this because I own it, but this is a severely underrated first appearance X-Men book for sure. I mean, none of us can afford to pick up a 9.8 in this. Let's just be realistic. But to add this to your collection doesn't cost that much. It's a great first appearance, and I would be shocked if at some point this character is not somehow introduced into the MCU, because it's comics, dinosaurs, X-Men. I don't know.
Well, we could see an uptick of this book this week, right? And reason why I'm saying we could see an uptick is because we are returning to the Savage Land with the Rogue series. So there could be an uptick for this book. Maybe not huge uptick, but there could be an uptick in this book. He'll be in the cartoon.
He could be in the second season of
he already was in the cartoon. So anyway, I just want to remind everybody we still have the super chat goes. We're waiting to see who would like to do it, be a part of it. Again, we're going to add some books into the January box, which you will qualify for if you leave a super chat. So the goal is 10. We're going to do the first 5. We'll put a book in, and then the other 5 we'll put another book in. So we'll try our best to get those books in there. Okay. I also see my boy Bobby's in the house. Soren, yes. He has a little drink. What's the emoji there? Oh, look at that. I got a little rat drinking. All right, let's go to our next book in our list. Vampirella #1. There is something very interesting with this book, but let's talk a little bit about the figures before we get to it. The highest sale of this book right now is at $850. That cannot be correct. That's got to be a typo. Now I'm mad. Let me see here. That's impossible. That's the highest reported sale. Let's see here. I'm so mad with myself when I see. Why is it we don't see these things in advance?
Oh, the prices, I'll never pick those up unless it's like really, really obvious.
Okay. That's more like it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
And I'm going to read it off of this so I could fix that later. The highest known value of this book was at a 9.8 in January 11th of 2024, a year ago, for $78,000. Also, last recorded sale of this book was $998 at a 7.0. Fair market value of this book is $430 at a very good, while an 8.0 goes for $1,458. This is the first appearance of Vampirella. Most notably is an iconic Frank Frazetta cover. Neal Adams does illustrate in this book, but it's not a Vampirella story.
This is a tough book to get because it's a #1. It's a first appearance, Frank Frazetta, magazine format. And then you throw all of that in, and then you put at the very bottom of it, oh, yeah, also, Neal Adams is in this book.
Yeah, Neal Adams is the bonus part of the book, right?
Yeah.
He's not the star attraction of this book. He's the side character.
Yeah.
Right. But I thought it was interesting to put it out because we're talking about 1969. This is where Neal Adams is starting to gain momentum because, again, he's doing X-Men. He's already starting doing work on Batman. And then he goes into Warren Publishing and they say, hey, can you do a story for us in our new book, Vampirella? Okay, do you want us to do Vampirella? No, we want you to do a side story. Like, he's past that.
Yeah.
He's at the point that he's past that. But he still does it. That's the sign of a true creator to me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, it's a great Vampirella cover by Frank Frazetta. What's to hate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it just boggled me when I saw it because I remember hearing about, oh yeah, Neal Adams, Vampirella. I'm like, but he didn't do Vampirella. He never touched Vampirella in this book. But he's noted to be a creator within the book. So, and it's true, he's in the book, but he never did Vampirella in this book. So there's your little Easter egg for you.
That's right.
Okay, going back here. Let's see here. Now, here's a book that he definitely did work in, and that is Green Lantern 76. This came out in 1970 for DC Comics. The highest sale of this book was $11,000 for $11,400 at a 9.6. That was recent. The last recorded sale was $50, and its fair market value of $245, very good, and a 7.5 at $408. This is an iconic Neal Adams cover, but more importantly, this is the beginning of the Bronze Age.
And who would have thought that Green Lantern and Green Arrow would make sense together?
They're both green.
Besides the green.
Well, that's what did it, right? I'm sure that's what it was. Let's just have the two green characters together.
Yeah.
But this book is relevant today as it was then, because the same issues that it was dealing with then, we are still dealing with today. And I'm not going to get into the whole politics of it. That's not what the show's about. But all the issues, the social issues that they were dealing with at that time, this was the book that made Denny O'Neil and Neal Adams really put this into storytelling, in which this ushered in a new era of comics, what we call the Bronze Age today, where we're going to give you stories that are realistic. We're going to give you stories that you didn't think was something we got to talk about. We're gonna go into topics that we would never have touched 5 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're going to touch them now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Great time, great stories, and this is definitely part of it for sure.
Mm-hmm. And also, what a great cover, man.
Yeah.
Worth every penny, if you ask me. Detective Comics 400. He did 200. Now he's back with 400. Pretty cool. Well, Batman, it's Batman 200, but now he's doing Detective 400.
And it's still a smash issue too.
It's still a smash issue. Yeah, right on the top. Back in 1970, DC Comics, this book highest sale was $43,200 at a 9.8. That was on September 2021. Last recorded sale of this book was $68 at a fine, and fair market value of this book $176 at a very good, and $1,050 at 9.0. This features the first appearance of Man-Bat. You know what's so funny is like the fact that they said to themselves, let's create a villain. Okay, we've done all these villains. Yeah, but how about he fights a bat? He's Batman. He's never fought a bat before. Let's make him fight a bat. And better off, let's make a Man-Bat.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that I'm sure they were having. They were socializing with each other, and for giggles, they come up with this character name.
They did a funny little bit on this on Big Bang Theory. That was hilarious on Batman, Man-Bat.
Oh yeah, Man-Bat, Batman.
Yeah.
I do remember that. I do recall that. Man-Bat is one of those characters to me that I like. I enjoy his story. It's a very tragic story. It's very lizard based, right? So it's kind of the same story as the lizard. There's no real difference between it. What's interesting enough is that it was also the very first animated story. So when Batman the Animated Series debuted, the first story they did was the Man-Bat story.
Oh yes, that's right. I just watched that the other day, probably about a month ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So, first appearance of Man-Bat, Detective Comics 400. You could get it for the low price of $43,000. Here's another iconic one, but not as expensive. Oh, technically, Detective Comics 405. This came out in 1970 for DC Comics. The highest sale of this book was $14,400 at 9.8. That was in 2022. Last recorded sale of this book was $8 at a fair, poor condition. Fair market value of this book is at $121. 8.0 is at $350. This is the first team appearance of the League of Assassins, which is going to be a big part of Neal Adams and Denny O'Neil's story moving forward.
Yeah, and that's a key group as well, and that's shows in the value of the book. And again, I'm just amazed that you can get this book in a 9.8. I mean, look at the black dark cover, and it's 1970. Wow, that's impressive.
Well, even the image that we have here, it's an image of a copy that's not that great, because I can even see the creases on the image.
Yeah.
So that's how hard it is. But it is a book that does exist in the 9.8. I'm sure there's not that many copies of it, but it exists. Right. But $8 for a fair copy? Sure, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Someone got a good deal on it just as a reader copy, just to say you have the first appearance of the League of Assassins. That's good. And I have to say what's up to Ferret. Even Titans 19 preview Frostbite's back. Yeah, that's a good book. That's definitely a good book. I couldn't get all the books in the list because there's a lot of damn books. But I want to get some books that are really, a lot of people love, some rarities and things like that. We still got plenty to go because we haven't even gotten to the major books yet. Would you believe that?
It's crazy.
Speaking of major books,
damn.
Batman 227 paying homage to Detective Comics. 1970 DC Comics. The highest sale value of this book was at $42,000 in 9.8. Speaking of 9.8s, right? Last recorded sale of this book was $385. Fair market value is $289 at a very good. $1,012 at a 7.0. This is an iconic cover of Neal Adams, inspired by Detective Comics 31 that came out in 1939. I absolutely love this cover.
This one I've always wondered, like, because I see it pop up all the time, and I've always wondered, like, what the huge draw is it? Like, I like it, but I kind of like a lot of the other ones a little bit more. I definitely can see why it's so popular, but it is interesting for sure.
It's the way Batman is there. It just, this is Neal Adams telling you, because remember, we're coming off the Batman TV show, the Adam West TV show. We're coming off of that, right? So the TV show was 1967, and the show's been out for 3 years. So now the show's gone. And now the comics are back to, okay, we want to make Batman the most serious character we could make it. Well, we're going to put in Neal Adams. We're going to get Denny O'Neil to write on it. So they were committed to that. By doing this cover, this again, we're talking about the 70s here. So this very much has the elements of the horror comics of that era too.
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
It looks and it feels the same way. You throw in Batman, you put in the demon of Gotham's mansion on, you put that in there, and you got yourself an instant seller. And more importantly, if I wish I was around during this time just to pick up these books. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to be around to see them in a newsstand and just like, oh, look at this. This is gorgeous. This is amazing. This is by far my favorite Neal Adams cover to date. I'm seriously lacking on Neal Adams covers. Nerdy Geek, you got to get your Neal Adams books. Okay, let's take a look at our next book here. Another iconic one, Superman 233. This came out in 1970. Highest sale was $5,520 at 9.6. That was in 2024 in April. Last recorded sale of this book was $72. Fair market value of this book is $77. An 8.0 is going for $253. It's an iconic Neal Adams cover.
Yeah, and like just the chain breaking and all of that. Like, I love this cover. The background with the colors, so good.
This is a cover that for many people is their poster. It's a poster.
Yes.
It's a straight up poster. And it turns out that Neal did not like this cover. He did not like it. He was
Hmm.
not a fan of it. And I honestly don't understand why. Maybe because there's not a lot of action to it, and he likes action. But I never really got to know why he didn't like this cover. Yeah, but it is very affordable, I will say.
Yeah, definitely. Still like $77 to pick it up, 72. It's
Mhm.
reasonable.
Yeah. Another classic. This is Batman 232 back in 1971 for DC. Highest sale value was another $42,000 at 9.8, and that was in September 2022. Last recorded sale, however, was $385. And that was in January 2025. Fair market value of this book is $289 and a very good, while a 7.0 is going to cost you about $1,012. This is the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul, second appearance of Talia al Ghul. It's worth noting that Talia did make her first appearance in Detective 411.
I love the background of this cover. I think it
Mhm.
looks great.
Yeah. When I decide Robin must die, he dies. Drago got nothing on Ra's al Ghul, does he?
Yeah.
Poor Robin gets killed all the time. They just love killing him off or something. But seeing this cover, okay, 10-year-old you is going to the comic book shop. It's 1971. You're 10 years old. Going to the comic book shop. You want to pick up a comic book here. You got some choices. You got some Batman, you got some Superman, you got some Spider-Man, you got some X-Men books. Which one you gonna pick up?
That's a tough call. I'd have to see them all, but when you're like, I just loved the art when I was a kid. So anything that drew me in, like this would, I would probably grab this.
Mm-hmm.
That X-Men cover would be hard to beat if it came out at the same time, though.
Yeah,
I
well,
gotta
it well
say.
it, it didn't. So X-Men was kind of already in their reprint stage, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Look at that. He hated it because they made him redo the legs to fit. Yes, it has something to do with proportions. Thank you. I knew someone knew the answer. Uh, and we got Phil. He's made it. Sips up Phil's Treehouse. Soiling Green, of course. Uh, okay, going back to Batman 232. First and foremost, one of the things that was very interesting about this era of comics was the risks they were taking. You have a gun being shot at to Robin,
Yeah.
the kid.
A kid. Yeah.
And it says in the comic on the cover, he dies. The reason why this is the one that's going to be picked up as opposed to the other books is because you generally don't know if they're going to kill off Robin.
Right. Yeah. Back then, a lot of times back then, the cover told a part of the inside of the book.
Mm-hmm. And you knew the scene was happening.
Yeah.
Right. And it actually gives Ra's al Ghul the momentum to being a top tier villain because we're talking about a brand new villain. And he at this time, Batman already had a major rogues gallery. Ra's al Ghul just went right on top
Yep.
as being, oh, this guy's a serious villain. Like he's killing Robin. So big deal then.
Yep. For sure.
What's going on, Phil? How you doing, my man? All right, let's take a look at our next book in our list. Just 2 issues later, we get Batman 234, 1971 for DC Comics. Highest sale was $7,800 and 9.8. That was in April of 2024. Last recorded sale of this book is $600, and this was done this week. $118, very good. $475 for 8.0. This features the first modern appearance of Harvey Dent, otherwise known as Two-Face.
It's just, I just love this cover. There's just so much good stuff on it. Like all of the the writing, like it's bigger, it's only 25 cents. Like everything there is just really great. And the drawing of Two-Face's head is really good too.
Mhm. The other thing that you mentioned it with the trade dress, like Batman with Robin, the Teen Wonder. He
Yeah,
got upgraded to Teen because he was part of the Teen Titans.
right.
um, it took him this long to bring Two-Face back.
Yeah, I mean, amazing, isn't it?
Right. He's just one of those characters again. I never knew about Two-Face until much later, until the cartoons, and that's because they never featured him in the TV show. He was never in the TV show. They
Yeah.
had a character that was supposed to be, I guess, the equivalent to Two-Face, which I think was No Face was his name, but for some reason or another, they were scared about getting Two-Face. So not Neal Adams and Denny O'Neil's like, no, we're bringing him back. We're bringing him
Yeah.
back now.
Yeah.
That's what this was.
They probably didn't want a bunch of kids going around deciding things with coins or something like
Oh,
that.
that would have been so much fun, wouldn't it? Yeah. It has the comic code, which we can mock, but it was the beginning. Yeah, it was being ignored, but there was a lot of things that were going on in that time frame because, again, we also have the Spider-Man story that was part of the code that was being ignored as well. So that was a big deal. False Face. Yes, that's the name. False Face. I knew there was some the editors of DC actually were talking at the time to see how far they could go with the code, was slowly sunsetting to the point among other magazine publishers. Yeah, at this time the code was no one cared, but they had it. They had it. It existed.
Yep.
Speaking of books with the code,
Yeah.
Green Lantern 85. This came out in 1971. Highest sale was 11,409.6. That was this week. Last recorded sale was $90. Same day, actually. Fair market value of this book is at $103. $310 and a 9.2. This is a groundbreaking arc tackling drug addiction that paved the way for realistic, relatable comic stories. This was a big one.
Yeah, for sure. This book opened up a lot of things for comics and also for, people to take comics more seriously, as well. And it's just a iconic cover, homaged, parodied, all of it. Just, good.
Yeah. Before we start talking more about comics, random reads. My channel in 1 hour opening packages from Lati. But he does do a nice little. It's our first super chat, so we gotta give him a thank you. So let's give him a thank you here. Let's see. Let's say thank you. There you go. Just throwing in a shameless plug there. All right, we'll be out. We'll be done within the hour, I think. Iconic comic, but I don't think I will want it in my collection. Wow. I'm waiting for the Holy Grail. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's definitely coming. But then again, all these books, man. All these books are iconic. That
Yep.
Batman book that we saw earlier, that to me is a Holy Grail book.
Yeah.
I know which. I'm pretty sure I know which one Nerdy Geek is referring to, though. I definitely do. But as a reminder, we need 4 more chats to add a book. We need 9 more chats to get these extra books in there. All right. Ha 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 ha! Before we went there, we went to Marvel Features number 1. Now we're gonna kick into some Marvel books. 1971, this came out. Highest sale of this book is $9,000. It is 9.8, and last recorded sale was $135 at an 8.0. A PGX copy.
Wow.
For $135. What a difference, right? $95 for a fair, a fine copy. $282 for an 8.5. This is the first full team appearance and origin of the Defenders, which includes Doctor Strange, the Hulk, and Submariner. Note, this is a Neal Adams cover. He did not do the interiors.
Look at the action on that cover.
Mm-hmm.
You get
There's
all
a
the
lot going on.
characters, backgrounds. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Really well done.
Mm-hmm. And it's worth noting that this is not the first time they are together in the comic book. So they have worked together in the past, but this is the first time they're acknowledged as the Defenders, which I would love to see a live action version of the Defenders, because we now have all the characters. They're all in. We're going to get Silver Surfer in pretty soon, I'm sure. But we could get this group in immediately.
Yeah, for sure. And I was this is one of the first team books once Ghost Rider was brought in. That kind of like that team with the Hulk and Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange and everything.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that as a kid, I was like, wow, that's so cool. They all know each other.
Yeah, right. But what I really like about the Defenders, unlike the Avengers, the Defenders were a group of guys and girls later on. They just didn't care about each other.
Yeah.
Like Submariner and the Hulk always were at odds with each other. Submariner always called Imperious Rex and stuff like that.
Yeah.
and Doctor Strange was doing his best to get them to work together. So the Defenders are a ragtag group, to say the least. That's probably a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
But I love the Avengers. The Defenders. I said Avengers. I love the Defenders. Going back to Green Lantern 87. Now, this is 2 issues later from the one that we just saw. This came out in 1971 for DC Comics. The highest sale of this book is at $10,800 at 9.8, which was recent. Last recorded sale of this book was at $500 at a 7.5. Fair market value is $229 at a very good, while the $564 for 8.0. This is the first appearance of Green Lantern John Stewart, who by many is Green Lantern. A lot of people consider him Green Lantern more so than Hal, even though we all know Hal is the true Green Lantern. But is he? Because Alan Scott got a little claim to that too.
Yeah, and just think like you mentioned 2 issues ago, and I don't know what the issue was before, but I'm sure it was really good too. They're just month after month punching out page after page of amazing stuff. Mm-hmm. And you can tell by the top corner, it's like, and it's not like a 26-page book or 32-page book they're doing every month. It's 48 pages.
Mm-hmm. They're thick books. And just to give you insight, 86, it's the second part to the Spidey story.
Right.
So.
And then they boom right into this. Like, it's amazing, really.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And it's all with social circumstances, social issues, because they're dealing with race in this issue. There's this real popular panel of, you defend the different types of aliens and stuff like that. But what about the black people here? Which is like, boom, just like moment of truth for Green Lantern. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And now in Marvel, he's getting his horror itch taken care of in Marvel. 1971, Marvel Spotlight #2. Highest sale was $12,000 at 9.8 back in August of 2022. Last recorded sale was $219. That was recent. Fair market value of this book is at $170 fine, $351 at a 7.0. This is the first appearance of Werewolf by Night.
This, again, there's a lot going on the cover, but it tells you everything that you need to know. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the cover and you like werewolves, you're buying this book.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first horror comic he does from Marvel. More importantly, it's Werewolf by Night, so we all know it's supposed to be like it's their take on the Universal monsters, of course. So we'll see some more coming very soon. So I'm a sucker for werewolves. I may have to go grab this one. I was too long at your age. Okay. So, Werewolf by Night. Obviously, a 9.8 for $12,000. That is a lot. But to get a fine at $170 for a character that already has appeared in the MCU, it's not bad.
No, very reasonable price, and it's an older book too. So the black border is going to be tough, but with the red, it's going to show those spine ticks a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good book to have for sure.
What about this one? Tomb of Dracula #1, 1971, Marvel Comics, $16,800 and 9.8, September 21. Last recorded sale of this book was $411 at an 8.5. And the fair market value of this book is $211 in the fine, while 8.5 is going to cost you $445. This is the first appearance of Marvel's Dracula, Frank Drake, and Clifton Grave. But let's face it, it's all about Dracula, and it's all about this cover. This is an iconic cover.
And if you went back to the late 80s, you could probably just trip over this book in different stores because it wasn't just a thing that it was Dracula. It was, you didn't think of it that way because you just didn't until recently, where it's like, oh, Dracula. Well, there might be movies. Back in the day, you didn't think like that at all.
Mm-hmm. It's a book that it goes beyond comics because it's Dracula.
Yeah.
Right? It's not so much that it's a Marvel comic. It's because people love these characters. They love these universal. We call them the universal monsters, but they go further back than that. Dracula is just one of those characters that we see it with Mark Spear's monsters today, right? He's kind of like the lead of that story. People just love these characters.
Yeah.
And this is one of those books that I think today gets way more love than it did then. Way more love.
Definitely. I'd love to have a copy of this.
Mm-hmm. And it's a cool cover. It presents so well, too.
Yep.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Batman 244, 1972, DC Comics. High sale was $8,409.8. That was in April 2024. Last recorded sale was $275 at a 7.0. Fair market value of this book is $70 at a very good, and $362 at an 8.5. This is a battle of Batman and Ra's al Ghul. This also features an iconic panel of Batman kissing Talia al Ghul. Many people believe that this is the issue where we get Damien comes from this story. Even though there's actually another comic book that features how that happened.
Yeah, and I love this cover. My only thing is, how does he have Batman's pants when he has pants on?
Well, Batman has his pants on, so apparently he keeps two pairs of pants.
Right. Maybe he was wearing two pairs of pants.
Maybe, maybe it was a cold day in the desert, Sometimes you gotta bundle up. Here's another question I have. Why is Batman so hairy?
Well, he's a man.
Got a hairy chest, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And Ra's al Ghul was enough to take it was enough for him to take off his whole costume, but he's like, I'm gonna just leave the cowl on him.
Yeah.
Because I want to keep him that way.
Yeah.
It's like, all right. Like, we're gonna fight bare chested. We're gonna be bare chested fighters.
That's right.
Always wear extra underwear. Talia al Ghul growl. I don't know what's going on here with the numbers 2, 5, 1. It was the 70s. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But very iconic. This is not one of his most iconics, but it's definitely an iconic. Check out that trade dress in the background, man. It's huge.
Yeah.
Another classic cover. This is Action Comics 419. The highest sale of this book was $15.98 and 9.8, and that was in April 2024. Last recorded sale of this book was $30, and the fair market value of this book is $37 at a fine $1,223 and 9.8. It's just an iconic cover. It's when you think of Superman, a lot of times this is the image that comes to your mind.
Yep. Look, he's happy.
Yeah, there was a real big thing with them taking, you know, copies of like cityscapes and stuff like that, like Xerox copies, and just doing the image on top of that. So, you know, we see it a lot in Marvel. Marvel did a lot of them. DC said we could do it too, and we did, and they did it with Superman here,
and it looks great.
Yeah, it definitely looks great here. The one that everybody has been waiting for, Batman 271, 1973 for DC Comics. Highest sale value of this book is $39,600 at a 9.8, and it sold back in November 2024, so not that long ago. That was about 2 months ago. The last recorded sale was this week at $26,000. So someone got a deal this week. It could be the very same book, believe it or not. $26,400, 9.8. Fair market value of this book is $260. Very good. $955 at an 8.5. The key significance: it's an iconic Neal Adams cover, but more importantly, it revitalized. I said it earlier, and I can't say it. Revitalized the Joker as a homicidal villain instead of a comic book villain. What can we say about this book that hasn't been said?
It tells you all right in Joker's face. That's it. It tells you the difference right there between him being a comical guy and being a crazy killer guy.
This is what, like I did mention, the other book is my favorite. This comes in a very close second. Like you said, everything you want that you want and love about the Joker is here. And I love how it says in the subtitle, "Look out, Gotham, the Joker's back in town." They are saying we are making the Joker what he's supposed to have always been.
Yeah.
He ain't no stupid clown. He's not any other clown. This guy means business.
Yeah, it's very good.
Yep. And Nerdy says, there it is. I'm waiting for Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future #1. We'll have a different captain in the list coming up soon. Oh, I love looking at this. You know, it's just one of those books. It's been homaged a few times as well. We've seen plenty of homages to it.
Yeah.
But nothing beats this cover. This is such a good cover.
Very well done for sure.
When I saw the title of this book, I was perplexed, but that's the title. It's Limited Collector's Edition C56. It's 1978 DC Comics. The high sale value of this book was $400. Would you believe that? $400. Last recorded sales is $28. Fair market value of this book is $124. I did not have any information on slabs for this book. I'm sure they exist, but I don't have any information on slabs. It is the one-shot featuring a boxing match between Superman and Muhammad Ali. It's a classic wraparound cover by Neal Adams. More important to note is that in this cover, this wraparound cover, every single person that you see in outside of the ring is an actual character of some kind, whether it's fictional in the comics or real. Neal Adams decided that he wanted this event to really showcase all the people that were famous during that time.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And I think they just did a facsimile of this one recently.
Yeah.
So if you did really want the cover, you can go get this as a reprint.
Yeah. You know, and it was so cool. The story is really cool because, Superman versus Muhammad Ali, of course, Superman will beat him, right? Because it's a human versus Superman. Yeah. So what they did for the story is that they depowered Superman. which defeats the point of him being Superman.
Yeah.
It would make more sense to me if it was Muhammad Ali versus Batman, and then we'll see who wins.
Yes.
Right? But this is you can't get more iconic than that.
No. Great cover.
I had to throw it in there. Captain Planet and the Planeteers, 1991 from Marvel Comics. This is the highest sale of $100 at 9.6, and that was in December. The last recorded sale was $5. Fair market value of this book is $5 and $100 at 9.6. This is the first appearance of Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Now, if you note, we jumped from the 70s to the 90s. So I did not put any 80s comics in this list because one, this list has been very long, and two, in the 80s, Neal Adams actually left Marvel and DC to pursue his own indie comics. This is where we get Bucky O'Hara. This is where we get Mystic and some other characters that he helped co-create it in Continuity Comics. Those books don't have, unfortunately, they don't have really significant value to him. So I decided, you know what? They exist. I'm letting you know they exist, but I'm not going to go over them in this list because it's such a long list. Instead, I decided to throw in this little Easter egg here for you guys because he did the cover for Captain Planet.
That's awesome. I just love it.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I'll do it.
The green mullet, you can't beat it.
And I believe this might be the last one. All-Star Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder. Apparently, he got demoted to Boy Wonder. Issue number 8. Neal Adams 1 in 10 variant. This came out in 2007 for DC Comics. The highest sale of this book right now is at $135 at 9.8, and that was in November 2021. Last recorded sale of this book was $16, and that was just recent in December. Fair market value of this book is $18, $44 at a 9.8. What makes this iconic, obviously, is the merger of Batman and Joker. When I saw it, I said, okay, I don't know how I feel about it.
It's a I'd really like to look at this cover like up close, because looking at it further away like this, even when I zoomed in on my phone, it's one of those things where they give you the test and it's like, which thing do you see first? Do you see do you see two Wolverines or do you see Batman type of thing? And I like it because you have to look at it for a while to lock in on one face or the other. But there's a lot going on there for sure.
Yeah. Well, he did manage to do something with the eyes. Especially that one eye, that Batman's one eye that he shares with Joker. So there's a little bit of, like you said, like a Rorschach painting into it, right?
Yeah.
I first see Joker, and I see Joker not as the villain, but like the Jack Napier character, the mobster, or the comedian, the failed comedian. That's what I'm seeing in this image. I see the attempt. I'm not sure how successful that attempt is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I see the same. Like I can get Batman out of it by more going towards his nose and that, but it is a great concept though, for sure.
It falls under iconic as well, right? You'll remember this image.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, this is the 1 in 10 variant. There is a convention exclusive variant, which is slightly more defined in its style because they added the blue into it, where now Batman is colored in blue, so you kind of can see him a little bit more. I kind of like the black and white by itself. I don't think the blue strengthens it. It just kind of makes you see it a little bit more. But the convention exclusive came out at the same time. The highest sale of this book was at $5.99, just short of $600 at 9.8, and that was in December of 2020. Last recorded sale of this book was in December at $125. Fair market value of this book was $51 near mint, $380 at 9.8. This is the blue variant that was a giveaway at MegaCon and the Austin DC Retailer Conference. There are only 200 copies that we know of. So it falls on the rare side.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love that cover, then you'll try to find this one for sure.
Yeah. Again, $125 for a book that only has 200 copies.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. So there you have it, guys. That is your Neal Adams Creator Spotlight. We hope you enjoyed this spotlight. Tell me, how many books you have in his collection? Are there any books that you are now planning to seek out? Let me know in the comments. There's a lot of books I plan on trying to get myself. But this is an iconic, legendary creator. I'm happy we did it. Can't wait to see the next guys that we're gonna do. But I'm really happy that I had a chance to do Neal Adams Creator Spotlight.
Yeah, great work on that too. Very well done.
Thank you. Whew. We're at the point. Look at we're at 225 now. All right, we're gonna go quick on the next part, but look at that. I already ordered the Jerry Lewis.
Probably was the one I was looking at.
Thank you, Wilbur. Yeah, right. He random reads like, oh, beat you.
And I bet you it wasn't listed as an Adams anything in the listing if you bought it.
Damn influencers. Hey, I'm just telling you like it is, man. I'm just telling you like it is. The information exists. Crap, I ordered you in Lewis.
Hey, that'll still be good. That'll still be good.
I'm just saying, it's hip to be square.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. We're at that point of the show where we're significantly tired, but the show must go on. We're also hungry. I want to see Monday Night Raw.
We're gonna have to. What we have to do here maybe is at some point we'll have to have a thing where we all get up and stand up for a couple seconds.
Break time.
We'll play the popcorn thing.
Okay. I know, right? So again, we got 9 super chats, but there is a goal to put these books in. Are you going to help me at least get a goal in? It could be 99 cents. It could be $2. Whatever you want. Let's try to hit this goal, okay? I want to put these books in, especially with the books that we're going to talk about today. Let's see here. I keep wanting to ask you to do artist spotlight on one of my favorite artists, but I don't want to have more competition on getting covered.
Nerdy Geek, you got to buy all the books you want first before the spotlight.
Hey, I'm not trying to buy the books myself. I'll be honest. I'm not trying because I don't want to spend that kind of money to be completely fair. But I want to tell you guys these books exist. I want to tell you the cost of these books are inexpensive. And that's the important part here. The fact that you have some great creators out there and they have books that no one knows exist. This is their opportunity to get noticed. And that's the point of Creator Spotlight.
Yeah, just like you said in the Spears one, that list you had, I went to the comic store the next week and I just went through, bam, 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 and I found 3 or 4 of them and they were cover price. They were $3 or $4 each. So that's what's great about that list. It's really for fans of that person, it's a great list.
All right, guys. It's now time to talk about the new comics. We got some great comic books coming out this week. One book in particular, I think it's going to be the book of the week. I don't think there's any other book that's going to challenge it. So let's find out with fresh picks.
Yeah. Yeah.
This week, new comic books. Ooh, January 15th is New Comic Book Day. You can see about the picture that we have right there. It's going to be a big book. There's no line. The real question is, will it outperform Absolute Batman? That's my question. Will it outsell? We'll find out. We'll find out some more information next week about the book, and we'll talk more about it in a bit. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about comics. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to our boys at Superior Stands. I love Superior Stands. If you look over there, you see some of my comics are being utilized, and they're actually being. I have Superior Stands doing it, so go check them out. Go hit them up. They got IG. They're trying to hit a goal for IG, so definitely look out for them because they're good people over at Superior Stands. They got great stands. New comic book rundown for today. We got 68 comic books that are currently being recorded. This information is coming by way of cover price. 253 are variant editions, while we have 12 new number ones and 7 new keys with 3 first appearances scheduled. That's all we know right now, as I mentioned before in previous versions, previous streams. That is a number that we could only assume. We cannot definitely know for sure until the books actually come out. So we have that. Our breakdown as far as publishers go, Marvel has 15 comics with 71 variants. DC has 13 comics with 47 variants. Image has 12 with 42 variants. Boom has 3 with 16. IDW has 2 with 3 variants. Dark Horse has 9 with 17 variants. Dynamite has 1 comic with 13 variants. You gotta love them for that.
Yeah.
Nothing from Mad Cave, nothing from Titans. And as far as the rest of the indie publishers, there are 13 that will be recorded with 44 variants. The source I utilize is cover price. A lot of people do utilize League of Comic Geeks. That's perfectly fine. I sense that the cover price list is a little more accurate than League of Comic Geeks, so I usually go with them. Key issue to watch: Ultimate Wolverine #1. So fine about this book. This book is going to be big, especially if the story is good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would definitely say, personally, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get an A cover, which I've already ordered all these. They should be waiting for me on Wednesday.
Mhm.
But key that I thought of is, I was thinking back to Miles, is I will pick up at least one cover that shows his whole face,
Mhm.
just in case.
Yeah. So there's the cover A. There's also some variants. I can't remember the name of the artist that did the cover B, the second one that you see in the middle there. But Lee Bergamino did 2 covers. It's this one. This is the Virgin. This is the 1 in 100 version variant, which I think is gorgeous. There's also a trade dress version. I think that's still cover price. It's worth noting that even though the book is called Ultimate Wolverine, he's being named as the Winter Soldier. So he's going by the name Winter Soldier because the mutants are now part of the Soviet. The Maker made it so that Colossus is a villain here, and he's responsible for controlling the mutants, and he's a killing machine. This version of Wolverine is a killing machine.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to reading.
There's going to be a lot to discover, and when we read this for the first time, as to where this character's from, all that stuff, and what exactly he is, and I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to get my copy tomorrow. I can't wait to see it. I know some people might already have copies already. I can't wait to see what this looks like because I'm super stoked. I might have a preview stored somewhere that I'm gonna double check to see. I have access to some previews. They never give us the full book, but I get previews. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
DVH. You don't think it's gonna have a chance to be Absolute Batman? I think it has potential. I think this is the book that obviously we're in a new year, so this could be the book. This could be the highest selling book of the year, unless there's something else that comes out. But I cannot possibly see another book that could be bigger than this one.
It's going to be big,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see multiple printings, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I ordered multiple copies.
Yeah.
So it's definitely gonna be something I'm gonna have. Another key to watch that a lot of people are not that familiar with is Green Lantern Fractured Spectrum. For those of you who don't know, the Green Lantern series been concluded. They're going to relaunch it, of course, like they always do. But this is the start of a new storyline, which features the fractal lanterns that be manifested uncontrolled parts of emotional spectrum. So I guess you could say lanterns that have schizophrenia.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really digging that cover though, so I might pick it up just for that. Like, I really like that design.
Yeah. So that you got that's cover A and cover B is the version, of course. But there's also cover B actually is the Steven Segovia. That's the one in the center. That's a beautiful cover. Mhm. But I'm gonna pick this one up. I'm interested in reading this story and see how it turns out. Another book, Rogue the Savage Land #1. Um, you have cover A. You also have Adam Hughes did a cover. J. Scott Campbell also have a cover. In fact, that J. Scott Campbell cover is a 1 in 100. It's a 5-issue limited series that will explore the time between Uncanny X-Men 269 and 274 back in 1981. While Rogue was in the Savage Land with Magneto as the X-Men were engaged in the extinction agenda. I think that's 1991 as opposed to 81. But
Yeah.
I actually didn't write that. Someone else wrote that. So, you know, I can't say anything towards this. Let's see here. But I want you to let you know who is thinking about this book.
Ah,
I'm looking through your mind's eye.
Just saying.
I know who's going to be talking about this book.
Oh yeah, that's this guy called Vlogs.
Yeah.
He's so excited for this book, man. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe a little too excited. I'm just saying.
This is definitely going to be cover by for me because I really don't think that in 4 issues or 5 issues that I hope to be proven wrong, but usually these stories, nothing game changing or anything comes out of them. It's going to maybe be a good story, hopefully have some good covers, which clearly it does, but really that'll be it for
Yeah,
me.
this is the type of story that I would see in like a Marvel Comics Presents or something like that. It's a limited series. They want to take a little part because they know this version of Rogue is popular. They like the look, of course. She's sexy. She looks awesome, right?
Yeah.
But just how I felt with Magic, I feel the same way with this one. I feel like this is simply cover buys. They're gonna have 101 different types of exclusives of this book. I'm sorry, it could be a great story. I don't think it's worth it if that means something.
Go back and search for I think it's 277, Uncanny X-Men 277, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
That's the Savage Land cover, or maybe, or in those numbers there, whichever one it is, that is the Rogue cover. If you want to buy a book that might have some value, that's the one you want to pick.
Well, that book did make the list because of this book.
Yeah.
So there you have it. I need Jessica Cruz on that cover. Yeah. Jungle Rogue gets fired. Yeah, a lot of people think so. Definitely a cover by book. That being said, I have all the
See, I'm the same though. I'm the same.
I think I needed I think I needed up skipping on this, but it's one of those books that I think when you see it at the end, you might just pick it up because you go, damn it, I just want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, this is a book that's worth picking up, and that's New Gods #2. A great power has awakened, and the universe may never be the same. The cliffhanger that was left behind in the first issue, this is definitely worth reading. Ram V is doing a great story with the New Gods. There is definitely going to be a connection sooner or later with the Absolute Universe when it comes to this book.
Yeah. Well, and they had the little bit in the first one, which I'm surprised hasn't made that book change at all, like in value. But I am picking up I'm only getting one copy of this. I got a copy of the first. I'll pick this up too because I actually did like the story, so I'll keep getting it.
And I think that's going to take time. I think my personal thought is Rom V. Everybody loves his writing, like his work on Detective has been great. So he is a well-established, well-liked writer. He's not a writer that people go up and say, "Oh, I got to get this book."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And not to discredit his work. And New Gods have never really performed in that level either. But New Gods always, they're Kirby creations, Dark Side, connection to Dark Side, of course, all that goes along. It's just for some reason they're like in this niche area
Yep.
where more people need to be reading New Gods comic books, but they just don't because they're
Yep.
kind of like they're in their own little world in some weird way.
Yeah, I agree.
But definitely worth picking up. You have a Walter Simonson cover as well, so that's a cool cover. All right. Keys to watch as well. Amazing Spider-Man 65 deaths. That is not a typo this time, guys. That is the numbering system of this book. And it's the end of the 8 deaths of Spider-Man storyline. And there's only 2 books. That shocked me even more.
Yeah. I'm surprised. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I thought he was on 3 or 4, so I thought he still had 3 or 4 left. So it'll be interesting to see how they do this.
Yeah. Look at that. DVH couldn't help himself. I was wrong. Turns out I got covered. You couldn't help yourself, could you? Yeah, I'm getting a couple of these for the covers. If the story's good, I'll keep buying. Okay, let's get back to Spider-Man. Sure, they're ending the series and they're gonna relaunch it. This is the last part. There's not much to say about it.
No.
G.I. Joe #3, Cobra Hunts a Venomous New Ally. G.I. Joe's a fun book. Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley, they've been doing a great job in the story. I love that Cobra cover.
Yeah, that's really good. So, Izzy, you've got to pick between the Ghost Machine universe and the Energon universe. Which one are you picking?
Sorry, I'm an Energon universe guy. Just can't help myself. Ghost Machine is good. They're great reads. Like all things, all good things come to an end sooner or later. And when that time comes, it'll be easy to pick up some Ghost Machine.
Yeah. The Energon has established, obviously, characters more so than the other one, but I'm enjoying both. Like I love all those series. G.I. Joe, Void Rivals, Transformers, all good.
Yeah. And they're all part of this universe now, which makes them really good. Robert Kirkman's been killing it. Daniel Warren Johnson has been killing it. There hasn't been a bad issue yet, as far as I know. But yeah, if I had to pick, I had to pick the one that hits my nostalgia more than anything.
And I'm not a G.I. Joe person at all. I didn't grow up on it, so all these characters are pretty new to me for sure.
Yeah. So I grew up on both Transformers and G.I. Joe. I'm more familiar with Transformers properties than I am with G.I. Joe. Even though I watched G.I. Joe a lot when I was a kid, I don't remember it as much. Like, I remember the main characters, but I don't even remember Snake Eyes in the cartoon.
Yeah.
And I know Snake Eyes is a major part of G.I. Joe, but I don't remember. It just doesn't ring a bell. So let's go to our next book here, and that is Spirit of Vengeance #5. This is a possible first cameo appearance of the Spirit of Violence. But what's more important about this book is that it's going to be the first meeting of Ghost Rider 2099 and the Ghost Riders, Blaze and Ketch. That's worth picking up to me.
Oh, for sure. And this series so far has just been horrible. And I say that as a massive Ghost Rider fan. I love Danny Ketch, Robbie, Blaze, 2099. I love all of them. And this series is just like, can it please be over? So I was so happy to see that there's actually something good that's going to be happening in this, so that I can enjoy it. Hopefully,
Yeah. Yeah, that center cover is so nice. I don't know
yeah.
about the Herbie cover, but you know,
Herberine.
Wolverine. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking there, but okay. So, and here's the indie pick of the week. It's Finders Keepers #1. This is coming out for Image Comics. Vita Alaya and Skylar Partridge bring you an action adventure tale following a Puerto Rican reverse Indiana Jones, a thief stealing from museums to return artifacts back to the native culture. When I saw this and I saw the concept, I said, okay, this person is an archaeologist who wants to put things back as opposed to taking them. And then you got me with Puerto Rican. So Finders Keepers #1 is the indie pick of the week. I look forward to this book. I might actually get a chance. I'll probably get a chance to read it.
Yeah, I'll flip through it and see, and if the art looks good, then I'll probably pick it up.
It definitely is promising. So those are your books of the week. Let's take a look at some covers. Starting with Ultimate Wolverine, Gabrielle Del Auto, 1 in 50. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's nice. That is definitely nice.
I love that middle one. I
Yeah,
wish that was a.
the
I wish
homage.
that was a regular cover.
Yeah, the In Huck Lee homage. It's a retailer exclusive, so you only get that from the retailers. Also, the big time collectibles, Miko Soyan of
Yeah.
Ultimate Wolverine. That's a nice one. There's two versions. There's one with a trade dress as well. Slightly different colors as well. Batman Superman World's Finest 35. That's a Chris Samneen cover. I thought that was just cool looking. Just a cool Silver Age looking gold.
The lighting, like the lighting of it, is really neat.
So it's a great cover. Also, Action Comics 1082, the Tom Grummett. That's a name I haven't seen in a long time. 1 in 25. Just another classical mods right there.
Yeah.
And then we have Jenny Sparks #6 by Lyrics. Leslie Lee. It is what it is, but I said these are eye-catching variants, and that caught my eye.
Yeah. Yep.
So. And then we got some G.I. Joe covers, one by David Finch and the other one by David Nakayama. The 1 in 10 is a connecting cover. Check out the hips on that girl. I just noticed them, man. He made her chunky. Not that I'm complaining.
I think they call that thick. The kids these days.
I'm just saying. And David Finch, man, what can I say? And I love David Finch. So, and then that Image Comics Feral #9, Tony Fleece rocking the Silent Night Deadly Night. I think it's a little, late, but we can pick it up for next year.
Yep.
It's a cool cover. Feral 9. All right. We talked about this earlier when we were talking about the trending books. You think this Storm #4 Rivals cover is going to sell out?
I'm going to buy as many of them as the store is going to let
me. What about that Storm by David Nakayama?
Oh,
the Western.
I'm in. I'll get that for sure.
And we talked about Rogue. What better Rogue Savage Land by Alex Lorenzo's 1 in 25. Holding Magneto, but let's be honest. We came to see the assets.
Yeah.
Oh, she's holding Magneto. Oh, I didn't notice that.
She's holding somebody? Didn't notice.
So, yeah. So, but that Rivals cover, that's so under order, I bet. So people are gonna pick that one up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And that completes the books for this week. Good books, not too heavy. It's actually not a heavy week, but there's some really good, solid books coming out this week.
Yeah, they'll let you buy multiple covers of the Rogue book.
Rogue, Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah.
There'll be so many covers of those books, man. Like I was doing my my list to see which books, I pre-ordered some, but then I also took a look at what books are coming out, and I noticed that it's over and under, definitely under.
Yeah, we'll see.
I will definitely be under. But with that said, guys, we did not complete the goal, but I thank you anyway, everybody, for joining us for the show. Really appreciate it. Random reads. I'm still going to put you into the giveaway box for January. We're going to try it again, but just to show you guys how I care about you and I love you guys. If you join or you leave a super chat of any price, I'm going to add one book in the group. That sure, I'm going to show it off, right? Should I show it off?
Yeah.
Let's add it up. If you're part of the January box, I'm going to add this to the January box. And if you leave a super chat, I'll add this book as well. And that is Return of the Living Dead #1. This is the Mark Spears book. This is currently valued at about $18. I'm adding that to the box right now. So we have some boxes. We got a box of comics already in this list now. So we're going to put that there for anybody who puts a super chat or anything of that nature. So currently we got 7 comic books, and this is just going to get bigger. Shane, where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram, 1063 Comics, YouTube, do my thing on Wednesdays with New Comic Book Day. And then I also join the show with Chris, the Comic Vet, Show Us What You Got, if they have room. I'm coming up on Saturday on another Chris show with Rob, Only Slabs. I'm doing that on Saturday. I've got them right beside me here. I'm just planning my attack every day. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
Awesome. And for those of you that are watching through 1063, this is the Izzyverse YouTube channel. If you haven't hit us up, go ahead, hit that like, subscribe, go to my channel, where we talk about comics. You get to see all these videos again. We do the replays for those people that wants to just see a condensed version of this live show. Also, better edited version of it, where the typos have been fixed. I love fixing the typos. I think that's the best part of it. Just being able to just say, okay, I fixed the typos.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's the best thing about doing it live is you get to see all that stuff.
Right, and you don't have to worry about it. I've dropped off G.I. Joe. Wow, for 3 issues. Thank you so much, JSS Brooklyn. I can never get that last S. JSS Brooklyn. Thank you so much, guys. But again, if you're watching, I am going to be dropping a video very soon on some essential Superman reading. I'm having a partnership with Global Comics, the digital provider, and that's where I'm going to do my first video with them. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. It took a little longer than I expected to, because of editing standards. But I think the final result is going to be very impressive, and I think you're going to like it a lot. Thank you all for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, TM. Happy birthday, Izzy. It's my birthday? I didn't know that. I thought it was CJ's birthday. You gonna start that trend with my birthday? Now Cliff wants that, not me. I don't care about that. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Again, we'll see you in the next one. And as always, we end the stream the same way as we always end it. We'll see you next time.
I think this is it. I think you're about to go home. Okay. All right. Look, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you!
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I guess I'll see you.